My parents compared me to my brother's girlfriend because she's better. Dang. I, 29 female, and my partner, 29, were invited to my brother's, Jay, 28, birthday party a few days ago. The whole thing was more than a bit last minute because the invite came 2 hours before the actual party. This is the reason why my partner couldn't come, since they had already made plans. Plus, me and Jay are pretty estranged at this point, so the short notice didn't surprise me. By the way, this comes from Expensive Place 9678. And if you want to spit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, Jay started dating his girlfriend, 25, about 2 years ago, and they moved in together this summer. He adores her, and she's head over heels for him. I'm really happy for them, and I only wish them the best. As for girlfriend, we aren't really close, but our conversations are pretty pleasant, even if we're really different character and interest-wise. On the drive to the party, I got a text from my mom, 61, that she and my dad, 66, wouldn't be available that evening, but were wishing me fun. So I wasn't really surprised when I met them at Jay's and his girlfriend place, but I think they were. So I congratulated Jay, greeted his girlfriend, and the other guests started to trickle in, meaning Jay's friends and his girlfriend's parents. Now, my parents, especially mom, adore girlfriend in every single way possible, often talking about her accomplishments, good looks, and sweet nature. They are also visiting her parents or Jay's friends' parents a lot, while the same can't be said about my partners with them never having showed much of an interest. Yes, we've been in a partnership for only half a year, but we've been best friends for more than 10 years before that. During the evening, everyone drank with the exception of girlfriend's mom, since she was the designated driver, and me because I drove there by myself. Especially my dad, but my mom wasn't far behind. Also, I was seated with them the whole time. I listened to my mom praising girlfriend and going on and on about how she's such an amazing cook, how she and Jay keep the house so tidy and are renovating the garden so beautifully, and how she had such a great time while picking out the new couch and closet for my parents' living room last week. Now that part was news for me, since I've only heard that my mom wanted to paint the walls, to which I had already agreed on helping. Also, we've been in contact multiple times the last weeks, me helping her declutter on the phone since I don't live close. Then she told girlfriend's parents how she was looking forward to pick the color and to paint the room with girlfriend, as if it wasn't something that I had already agreed to help her with. When I asked her about it, she kind of blew me off, saying that she forgot to tell me about the new furniture and that they hadn't picked a date for painting yet. Sadly, it's not the first time something like that happened, so I'm kind of used to it. Like, she forgot that I was coming over before, served me a meal with eggs, even though I've been allergic to them since I was a child.
Oh, boy.
Come on, you're a parent. You don't forget your children's deadly allergies.
Yeah.
Nothing major, I just get really bad stomach aches. Also, she criticizes me for a lot of things like my weight, my ADHD, etc. The only time I'm receiving a compliment these days are either for my job, how I was always looking so well after my brother while growing up and during our teenage years. Then, like half an hour later, my dad exclaimed how, in his and my mom's opinion, I can do nothing right. He was going on and on about how I can't speak well in the dialect of my parents, how I always do everything completely disregarding their wishes, and how I'm not even in a proper relationship and everything. My mom didn't make a comment, and I don't know if she didn't hear since she was talking with someone else in that moment or decided to ignore it. When girlfriend's dad spoke up how there isn't really a right way to live a life, my dad told him that that wasn't true and that he knew what was right and I just didn't do those things on purpose. He has blamed me for things even out of my control before, but somehow it took me off guard this time. I decided to leave quietly after that. I spoke with my partner the next day, and they are livid with my parents right now. I also have trouble sleeping since then with how the whole evening reminded me of things that happened in the past. For example, my dad naming me as the reason why he suffered a heart attack. My late grandmother telling me she wished I had never been born. My mom blaming me for that particular argument and how my grandmother threatened to harm herself after I set boundaries. Furthermore, I am celebrating my own birthday in a few weeks. My family, including girlfriend, are invited along with my partner and their parents. I'm going to treat them to a pretty high-end restaurant, and I know that they are all really looking forward to it. My family, especially since girlfriend really wants to try that kind of restaurant. Currently, I'm contemplating on just either calling the whole thing off or putting some distance between me and my family after it. I know it sounds petty, but if they already have such a perfect daughter-in-law and I'm nothing but a disappointment to them, Why should I keep them this close to me? Just so I can feel even more like a burden in the future? My partner has been great through those last few times, but tonight I couldn't help feel like an a-hole for thinking like that. So am I the a-hole or unfounded for feeling like that? There are some comments and I'm sure an update, but I have some thoughts.
What are your thoughts, Sophia?
I think that OP has two options here. One, you cancel the thing and you distance yourself. Or two, you just invite the people who care for you and who have been treating you well. And that it seems like that's everyone but your parents. So you don't have to invite your parents. You can say, if they say why, you could say, because you guys said that I do nothing right, so I don't want you there. There are some comments, though. I think you should take some time for yourself, go to the restaurant with people who value you, and think about the past with them. Who cares if they're looking forward to it? It's about you. Do they bring joy, support, or positivity, or do you keep them in your life out of obligation? If you weren't related to them, are they the kind of people you would want to be in your life? Opie says, thank you. I think I needed to be reminded of that. And they support me when it aligns with their own beliefs or interests, for example, like me going in my current field of work or me getting my driver's license. But don't listen to my troubles with ADHD since they don't believe it exists. Also, I used to love spending time with them, but in recent years, those feelings got more complicated. And we run in completely different circles, so if I wasn't related to them, I probably wouldn't have met either of my family. It's something my partner, as well as their family and our mutual friends, have always been baffled about. And comment 2, I think that for your birthday, you should not cancel, but annul the invitations of your family. I would even say that you should cut ties with your family. That you should be devoting yourself to people who value and who help you move forward. People who are toxic to you and hurt you need to get out of your life for a very long time. Your mother just wants you for what suits her the day you have to paint. Tell her that you have the vid and can't go. Obi says, I will definitely not help her paint the living room. That was also one of the first things my partner said when I spoke to them. Thank you for your advice. And there is an update.
Oh boy.
Let's jump in.
Let's do it.
Basically, it has been quite a wild ride since then. For one, my mother broke her leg, and had to rely on me, as well as girlfriend, since my younger brother Jay is busy working and my father can't really help for health reasons. That in itself has been quite something because while my parents talk to me when I'm over, as soon as my brother and girlfriend show up, I'm literally not interested anymore. Since I'm around my parents more than usual, I set some boundaries. For one, I've told them firmly that I'm not someone they can just order to come over at their demand, and they have to tell me a day before if they need something. My mother really didn't like hearing that, but I'm just past the point of caring right now, as you should be. Great for them if girlfriend shows up whenever they want to, but I won't, and I really don't care if she thinks that other people have their priorities set straight. I don't. Also, if they fail to show up or be there when we set a date for like me coming over to cook dinner for them and they're not home once again, I won't repeat these appointments anymore. Either I'm important enough for them to remember or not. I also told the both of them that next year, I, not my father or girlfriend or anybody else, would pick the place where I celebrate my birthday. And they would either be welcome or could stay away for all I care. Again, that was not received very well, or when I told them that my job was majorly exhausting. I work full-time as a kindergarten teacher, and that they can expect the same things from me as from my brother as an office worker. As for the birthday party in 2 weeks, well, I decided to go through with it. Be the bigger person, even though it will probably not be that entertaining, especially since my partner broke up with me a few days ago. They said they rather wanted us to be friends again than be in a relationship, and that me being a doormat for my family and showing no backbone when they or my partner themselves are being mean to me isn't something they can do in that capacity anymore.
That's hard because that's understandable. Yeah. And I think we've seen that side of a lot of different stories.
Yeah.
But, oh, man.
Also, because I'm still undecided if I want kids in the future, and they definitely don't. And that's a very fair reason.
Yeah.
That hurt like a knife to the gut, but I get it on some points. Also, when I told my mother, I received 0 emotional support. And only after I explained to her that she's way out of line, she apologized for like the first time in a long while. So yes, I'm going to be the biggest person there is, celebrate my birthday with my emotionally abusive family, my ex-partner and their parents. Your ex-partner broke up with you right before your birthday?
Yeah. And then they're just going to be like, yeah, but we could just go as friends.
What?
Like, I don't think it's that easy, unfortunately.
Probably the worst timing. And after that, I'm going to lay low for a while and minimize contact to a lot of people. Do things I like and go back to therapy because after all of that crap this last 2 months, my psyche is not really doing that great. I read your previous post, are you Asian/Chinese, because you said dialect. Anyways, if the girlfriend can do the errands, then you don't have to do. It is like your parents are already molding her into the obedient daughter-in-law that will serve them. Anyway, do you have other friends that you can do a low-key celebration of? You might want to work with a counselor with similar heritage as you. You deserve better. Grieving the relationship sucks, but is needed. I hope you can find yourself and your values and find a way to see yourself as valuable and have worth from within. And Opie says, no, I'm German and I'm speaking mostly what we call High German, while my family is only speaking with the Bavarian dialect. My family has these old Bavarian values deeply ingrained in their minds, and that includes anything outside of Bavaria is, let's just say they, especially my father, don't really like people outside our state very much. And yes, they mostly just call me if girlfriend doesn't have the time or something. So I'm not feeling bad about making my boundaries clear in that regard. And yeah, I'm celebrating with a few friends a week later. I'm keeping family and friends pretty apart since my friends have quite the bone to pick with my family. Understandably. I'm going to look into that. Thank you. And there is a second update.
Oh my gosh.
Man, oh man. Do you have any thoughts?
My brain is hurting for Opie.
It's a lot. I mean, Opie's going through a lot, like trying to stand up to her parents and seemingly is doing that, but then also got broken up for not standing up. These 2 links are what happened until now. Also, this will be the final update. The birthday party came and went, and it was pretty much like I thought it was going to be, except that both my mother as well as my brother tried to include me more than before. And in general, it was nice. Again, this is OP's birthday. I would hope you were included.
Yeah.
Everyone was happy, and I had a nice time as well. It didn't feel like I was an outsider all of the time, just a little bit, which is more than I can usually say. As for the other 3 guests, my ex-parents-in-law excused themselves, but they invited us for coffee on that day, and I got my favorite cake. Lovely.
Cute.
I still have a pretty solid relationship with them, and I hope it holds. And my ex-partner, now trying to act like my best friend again because that was who they were before our relationship started, didn't show up either. Ex claimed that it would be too uncomfortable for them since my parents could make a comment or something about why they broke up with me, and they didn't want to expose themselves like that. You could say that our relationship is a bit strained with some of the stuff they said during the breakup still doesn't sit right with me. Like how I and my problems are a huge burden to them and that I'm nothing more than a doormat. I respect their decision, but it still makes me sad and angry, which is totally understandable.
Yeah.
Maybe I've just grown bitter since the one person who I thought would never hurt me did that so easily and seems to thrive now that they're single once more. Sometimes it feels like I can't recognize them anymore, but oh well. They just have to realize and accept that they lost a whole lot of my trust. Also, I've been in contact with another old friend more and more and made 2 friends that way. So yeah, things aren't looking that bleak anymore. That is amazing to hear.
Yeah.
And you know what else is amazing to hear?
What?
You guys can listen to full episodes with stories just like this if you go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. Just search up OK Storytime. I think, OP, you are headed in the right direction. You've been through a lot of tough stuff, but your partner breaking up with you does not mean that you aren't going in the right direction. You are standing up for yourself. You're putting up boundaries, and that is still needed, and you're making steps to that, and that's great.
And in the grand scheme of things, this might be the right direction.
It might, yeah. And maybe, you wanted kids, your partner doesn't. In the long run, that would have been another tricky thing. So I think,
exactly.
This is right for you. As for my family and futures, since I set up some boundaries and stuck with them, they're in general more careful with me. I already went low contact with them, but if they decide to pull some BS again, I told them the consequences, meaning that I would lower it even more. I've already heard my mother talk about how much she misses me and how I'm not around as much anymore. Maybe you shouldn't have taken OP for granted. I hope with time they can accept that I may be their daughter and not the offspring who never did meet their expectations. With that, thank you to everyone who read and left a comment. You made me smile in difficult times, and your words gave me some options I hadn't thought about. Take care. And that is the end of the story.
That is the end of the story.
For real. My family demands that I give my house to my brother. They cut me off when I refused.
Cut them off.
This sounds
An eye for an eye.
like we've read a very similar story, but maybe this is just a common issue? I, female 29, recently bought a house and a brand new car. And I know it's a different story because the last story was male. I will admit I probably splurged on my house more than I should have, but growing up very poor, it has always been a dream of mine to live in a nice house. I worked really hard to be where I am. So much so, I undergo countless breakups because I always choose a career over boys. By the way, this comes from PM Me Random Tips, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to OK Storytime subreddit. So, my brother, male 25, is currently jobless. Oh, he worked as a tourist guide before and can barely make ends meet. He has 5 kids now and counting, as wife announced pregnancy recently. He messaged me on Facebook that there is something he wants to talk about, and I thought he wanted to name me godmother to his incoming baby. I said sure, and invited him to the house to get his approval about some things I modified for our parents. I gave him a tour and he admired my house greatly, saying things like how excited he is to bring the kids to my house.
Aww.
I did not mind anything about it as I thought he meant a visit, which I'm more than happy to host them for. Imagine my surprise when he finally sat me down and finally revealed what he wanted to talk about. He wants me to give him my house.
What? I'll take that deal. I'll take it.
I clarified whether he meant this house or the other house I bought for my parents, which I still lived in. Still had modifications ongoing with my dream house. He said the house is big enough for his family and I can go visit them anytime I like. Even offered that if I really wanted to live there, I could move into the maid's room and modify it for my personal use.
What? Is this a joke?
This is crazy. I would be laughing. I'd be like, yeah, real funny. Sorry? He was like, yeah, if you really want to live in your own house, I guess you can be our maid. That's fine too. I was shocked. I couldn't speak as he thanked me over and over for the house. So not only did he ask you, it's crazy, he now has assumed that you're just doing it.
He's like, can I have your house? She's like, what the hell? And he's like, thank you so much.
I was so worried that you wouldn't say
such a
yes. So
good
I'm
sister.
really glad that, we've gotten that over with. I finally asked him, where the heck did that idea come from? And he said her mother told him I would give him my house.
What?
I, of course, corrected that. And this is where things went south. My brother repeatedly said, since our mom said the house is his now, I cannot do anything but give in. He's like, well, mom said it's mine.
Mom said it's mine, so legally?
Mom said I could have a turn with the house. I called my mother to tell him to F off. And lo and behold, my mother sided with my brother.
What?
So your whole family is crazy. To make this already long story short, my whole family has cut me off and my parents disown me until I give my brother my house. Good riddance. Good riddance. Your family is crazy.
I don't believe this story.
Your family's crazy.
I don't believe this story.
My father has been brought to the hospital over this fight, and now I feel really bad. The guy I'm seeing now said to just give the house to my brother, and he'll help me buy another one.
No.
The guy you're seeing is insane.
No. This is a made-up story. None of this is true. I'm not gonna emotionally invest in this. It's fake. I'm not investing in it.
I'm emotionally investing because I emotionally invest in all of our stories.
As soon as she's like, and my partner was just like, come on, just give it to
buy
him.
Another house. That's crazy.
That's because it's not real.
That's crazy.
It's not real. The last one was already fake. I'm not going to imagine 2 in a row real.
Reddit, am I the a-hole here? Why are you even asking that? To clarify, the house that they gave away is the newly bought one I thought where I could raise 5 adorable fur babies. Family home is in my name too, so as I have to take out a loan back then to buy it. So yeah, it may be obvious I'm not the a-hole at first sight, but I feel like I could be one because my father got hospitalized over the ensuing fight for the house. Edit 2, I'm trying to read all comments and I'm just so overwhelmed for your support. I'm temporarily staying at a friend's house ever since. Your encouraging words really helped ease my mood. I finally decided not to give this house and sell the other one to help pay for a vast majority of the loan on my dream house. I also decided to remove my parents' access to my health plans and remove them on my insurance. Last but not the least, thank you for the award, kind strangers. Reading your comments made me realize how ridiculously unreal this sounds. Comment 1 says, not the a-hole, of course, but what the actual heck is going on here? The entitlement of your brother to expect that you will give him your house, and the nerve of your parents expecting that you would indeed do this? Actually, if your parents want to provide for your brother, they can invite him to live in the house you bought for them, and they can live in the maid's room. Your family is toxic, OP, and if that's how they see you as a bank, then cutting you off is a good thing for you. And comment 2 says, what was going on? OP says they grew up very poor. As someone who grew up very poor, this isn't shocking behavior. Many times, family feels entitled to your success and value family above everything else. When you have nothing, you have babies to create value for yourself. But there is an update. Man, oh man.
There needs to be a lot in this update to convince me.
Hello. So a lot of people have reached out to me to see my original post. A lot has happened then. I'll try to include some details as much details as I can. So I cut off my family back in December and removed them in all services that will benefit them being connected to me. Since I figured, hey mom, you told me I no longer am alive to you, then you get no free house from me anymore. So the reactions from our extended family were just as I expected. Most of the adults sided with my mother. My cousins expressed their support to me. I got uninvited with the family reunion I initially sponsored, and isn't that just the worst? My aunts and uncle had barricaded the gate when I arrived at my granny's house. I won't expand on this anymore because this still hurts until now. My mother also sued me for selling the first house back in January. It did not reach the higher courts, and I won. Public perception of me got worse, though. She and my brother took this defeat to twist the sympathy in their favor. They posted on social media about how I am an ungrateful daughter and I owe them for everything I have. They also blamed me for my father's passing.
Jeez.
Yes, he passed.
Oh, no.
I didn't even get to attend the funeral because I'm banned. When this happened, I almost gave in and signed the papers to give the house to my brother. I blame myself and believe them. My selfishness did this to my father. At this point, my boyfriend convinced me to take a break from work and talk to a professional, which makes sense. I did just that, and I'm only now just realizing how effed up the way they raised me was. I can't believe it took internet strangers to realize something is wrong with how they treated me. To be honest, I almost decided not to post an update. It was last month when my therapist suggested I should do it because this is where me breaking off from them started. On the bright side, I saw how my fiance's family really liked me because of this ordeal. I thought they were just being nice, but crap happened and they supported me every step of the way, especially when my partner had to go overseas for 1 week because of his job. They really took care of me and even assured me I was worth more than my family thinks I am. The nicest thing I've ever heard in my life came from his mother. Dang. That's sad. But the nicest thing that we've ever heard is you listening to more full episodes with stories just like this.
That'd be so nice.
Just go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. Anyway, we're going to finish this off. Last July 21st, my father's birthday, Mother reached out to me. She explained to me that she understood she had no right banning me from his funeral, but at the time, all she can think about is how I cut them off from my health plans, and it rendered them incapable of supporting my father's hospitalization. I did not realize this, and we cried for hours. She still says she blames me, though, and doesn't think she can forgive me. That's so messed up. She literally cut you off. 1, Opie didn't know. 2, you cut her off. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I think I understand her. My therapist told me that thinking of what ifs is counterproductive, but still, if I could go back in time, I'd help them with this. But you didn't know. They're trying to blame you, and this is what they've done the whole time. This is not an apology. My brother won't talk to me. That's fine. The feeling is very much mutual. There are some comments.
Go for it.
Comment 1. Remember, OP, your mom chose not to tell you that she needed money for your dad's medical care until she could blame you for his passing away.
Yep.
Not the a-hole. And reply, I think they know they're wrong since the mom is reaching out. But again, pride. And that is the end of that story. Ooh. Whether it is real or not, OP, do not let them gaslight you into thinking that this is your fault.
Yeah, that you had anything to do with
you didn't
your
know,
father's
and they cut you
passing.
off. Yeah, they were being ridiculous and awful, and they're trying to take advantage of you, and they're still trying to take advantage
they're
of
trying
you.
to guilt trip you after the fact and trying to blame your father's passing on you, which is in endless ways so messed up.
Yeah.
My fiance's brother confessed his love to me while intoxicated.
Does it count then?
I feel like it double counts in a way.
It's so truthful.
Even worse.
I've known both of them since college. I actually met the brother Lucas first. He was in the audience while I was performing a spoken word piece. Our friends knew each other, we met, etc., etc. Lucas eventually introduced me to his older brother Miles, and I was instantly smitten, as they say. And by the way, this comes from user Beanie Baby with a 4. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, Miles and I started dating very quickly after we met. He's always been very assertive and confident, while Lucas is quiet and introverted. Miles and I are now engaged. We're aiming for the wedding for next year, hopefully in the summer, unless something goes horribly wrong. Which,
You've just freaking cursed it.
did you just summon horrible things?
Unless something goes horribly wrong.
Lucas is going to be the best man. We are very happy together. Last night, Lucas called me around 1 o'clock in the morning. Right away, I knew something was wrong because he never calls, especially not so late. He's more of a texter. I didn't actually answer the call because I was in the bathroom, and I figured I'd call him after I was done. He ended up leaving a message saying this word for word. Jess, my friend, how are you? I missed you at the bar last week. We were supposed to go to that karaoke place, remember? You're a terrible singer, by the way. Smart and clever, but you're a terrible singer. Anyway, I'm really wasted right now, and I'm probably going to regret saying this in the morning if I even remember it, but I love you, Jess. It's so weird, right? You're funny and beautiful, and I love you. I love you so much. I'm so sorry. You and Miles are a good couple. I'm happy my brother found such an amazing person to spend his life with, and I would say I wish I met you first, but I did, didn't I? Anyway, oh God, I'm sorry. Please don't tell Miles. I just wanted to say this out loud. That's all. Okay. Bye. Thank you.
That was great.
Thank you.
Here.
That was great. Give this man an Oscar.
Oh,
Give this man an Oscar.
I earned fruit snack.
I would like his fruit snack. That was really good.
Oh, thank you.
That was like,
Thank you.
oh my God. I was like, wow, I'm transported.
It's like
love Jess.
I was gonna say it's like Dakota knows how to be that.
Yeah, I've never done that.
I've never seen Dakota do that.
I've never done that. Okay, so after receiving this voice message, I was in shock. I then cried, and then I sat down and thought of everything that happened since I performed my spoken word piece all those years ago. I honestly had no idea. Lucas has dated and been in a few relationships since I've known him. He was only ever amazing to those girls. He was kind, doting, respectful, loyal, the list goes on. He didn't say how long that he's felt this way. Maybe it's new? I don't know. Either way, I don't know what to do. Should I talk to him about it? Should I tell Miles? Should I take this to the grave and pretend I don't know? I'd want to know if my sister had called my fiancé and admitted to being in love with him, but I don't want to strain my fiance's relationship with his brother. On top of that, Lucas was wasted. He likely didn't even remember that he left the message. And there is an update.
Ooh,
Sophia.
Okay. Usually my
what do you do?
immediate thought is like, oh, tell your partner and like, get that out of the way, be honest, blah, blah, blah. I think it's slightly more complicated. And I'm kind of leaning towards talk to Miles first and be like, hey, I don't know if you remember, but you left this message. I don't feel that way about you. And I am going to have to tell, my partner, your brother. But I just wanted to let you know first that that's what I'm going to be doing.
All right, let's get into this update. So, Miles came home a couple of hours ago. I played him the message, expecting
Whoa,
some
okay.
level of shock or anger, but he just went, oh, crap. Is he okay?
All right.
That's a man who knows his brother.
He's like, that man's out of
This guy just says it to everyone.
To my relief, Miles is honestly just concerned. He's not angry at all. In fact, he said he had an inkling that Lucas was, at the very least, attracted to me, but he had no idea it was love. Which, honestly, let's be real. I don't even... Does Lucas even know if that's love or not? I mean, come on.
In love? Can you really even be in love?
Whoa.
Yes.
We're going to unpack that later.
Yes, I'm in love.
Is that even a real thing?
So, Miles asked me how I feel about the situation, and I told him my only concern is our relationship. As much as I care about Lucas as a friend, I'm not entirely sure what he wants from me, if anything at all. I'm marrying his brother in less than a year. On the one hand, I feel bad for him because unrequited love is a crappy thing, and I've been there. But on the other hand, I'm annoyed. I don't really know why I'm annoyed, just that I am. In any case, Miles thinks I should have a sit down with Lucas. I expected him to want to talk to his brother, but he said we should maintain the illusion that he doesn't know, if only to spare Lucas the guilt and or embarrassment. He knows his brother better than anyone, so I'll follow his lead on this. Thing is, I'm not even sure Lucas remembers leaving the message. Hopefully he does. I would hate to break the news. I guess I'll post another update after meeting with Lucas. I still have no idea what to say. Like, hey, you wasted dialed me and said you loved me. What's up with that? No, probably not a good approach. We have some comments here. Number 1 is read your update. If it were me, I would want my fiance to handle it. The relationship between the brothers is the most important thing. And if his brother reports the conversation between you and him going differently, it will make things worse. Really, this isn't about you at all. Your fiance nailed it. Maybe the brother is very lonely, jealous of the relationship more than of you in particular, or having some unrelated issue that is manifesting weird. I feel like that's a stretch, my guy. Either way, those issues are best resolved with his brother, not you. I agree with that. He involved his brother by nature when he told you. He might as well have said, don't call an ambulance, but I'm having a heart attack. Again, I personally would feel more comfortable with it being just the brothers. OP says, I agree. I went in fully expecting Miles to want to handle this on his own, but he made his stance very clear. Lucas isn't just my brother to you, he's one of your best friends. I trust you, and I also trust him. He told you because he's ready to get over you. Talk to him, see where his head's at, and let him know how you feel, even if he doesn't want to hear it. We've been texting on and off all morning. To be honest, I'm even more ready to marry him than I was before.
Dang.
He's handling this so well.
Like, I knew that I wanted to marry you the moment your brother drunken dialed me.
Oh, I doubled down the moment you were like, I don't care if my brother's in love with you. You're his best friend.
Yeah, too
She's
bad
gonna-
for him.
She's gonna crunk call him now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I love you.
Dunk on you.
I want to marry you.
The script has been flipped.
Yeah.
There's a reply here. Yes, this sounds like a very good sign. He's sensitive, kind, caring, and supportive, and he's not making this about him and his feeling. Good job. There's another comment. Quote, I'm annoyed. I don't really know why, just that I am. And in response to this, a commenter says, my speculation on this is 1, drama is frustrating. 2, it's your fiance's brother. He decided that you had to know how he was feeling versus him finding a healthy way to deal with it, like therapy. What did he expect? That you were going to jump from your relationship to be with him? That you would keep this secret from the man you're planning to spend the rest of your life with? What good did telling you really do for either of you? Those are the reasons I would personally be annoyed at this. It's a natural reaction to something that could have been potentially detrimental to your relationship or your fiance's relationship with his family. A reply to this says, yeah, he took his personal problem and made it your and your fiance's problem when he decided to feeling dump all over you. I mean, like, I feel like the drunkenness is like the biggest problem
true.
here.
Yeah.
Like, if you had brought this up in a sober context,
It might,
I
yeah. It'd be
feel
like,
like you
hey, I
could
had
have
feelings
worked
for
it
you. I
out.
don't want, I just wanted to tell you, get that
Exactly.
off my chest.
right.
Obviously, I understand that you were in a, loving relationship.
Right. The last thing I
but
want to do is home wreck my own brother.
Yeah, and then it could be like, I need to take some time away from you, or like, I need to distance myself a little bit, and I didn't want you to think that I hated you.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need the catharsis of saying something out loud to the only person who it is really relevant towards. Reasonable adults have inappropriate crushes from time to time, but manage not to go all out Love Actually over it.
I freaking hate Love Actually.
Which I don't feel like, again, I don't feel like
I
he
don't
did
think this
that
was
here
Love
at
Actually.
all. That's an over
because in Love
exaggeration.
Actually, she freaking kisses him, and that's weird.
He's like out there with the shout out Andrew Lincoln.
Carl.
I would be Carl. I would be furious if I were in your position. And we have another update here. So I'm sure this is going to be
Woo!
post Lucas conversation.
I feel like it's gonna be fine. I think it's
Lucas.
gonna be okay.
Okay. Update time. Okay, big thanks to everyone who left a comment in the original post. Your input was very helpful. I have since talked to Lucas. Again, it was Miles' idea. His logic was simple. Lucas told me the truth because he was ready to let go and get over me, or rather, whatever idea of me he had in his head. Miles thinks keeping Lucas as best man at our wedding will be punishment enough. As brutal as that sounds, I can't help but agree. Lucas isn't a child and shouldn't be treated like one. I think he knows we're disappointed in him, worried and sympathetic, but disappointed just the same. If he were truly looking to split the engagement, I feel like he would have taken a more sophisticated approach than just wasted dialing me. In any case, we had a chat at mine and Miles's house. Miles was home in his study, working in the study. Lucas and I had lunch in the kitchen. To my relief, he did not feign ignorance. We talked for maybe 20 or 30 minutes, and he told me he originally wanted to ask me out in university but waited too long and then stepped aside when he saw that I was interested in his brother instead. He said he left that voice message without agenda, and I believed him. The way he was talking, his words came off more cathartic and apologetic than hopeful. They didn't come off hopeful at all, actually. And by the way, I'm hopeful that you could listen to full episodes with stories like this. All you got to do is go to iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, what have you. Just search OK Storytime, and there you will find, how many days? 50?
50.
50.
A
The
whole
big 50. 50 consecutive days
We're at Hawaii.
worth of stories.
We're at Hawaii 5-0 right
We're
now.
at Hawaii 5-0.
Yeah.
Of course, we have some story left.
Yeah.
I think this is all going perfectly
I think it's
fine.
I mean, it seems like OP understands what happened. It seems like Lucas is, apologetic.
Right, and it was catharsis. It was the
Yeah.
cathartic. It was just, I had to get
Getting
this
off
off
my
my chest
chest.
now
Mm-hmm. And he did.
because I couldn't hold it in
His
anymore.
chest is free now.
His chest, he is free-chested.
Free chest.
It was kind of weird, the punishment of being the best man. I don't know if I agree with that perspective.
Wait, was that a comment?
Because they were like, no, it was OP. He said, I think Miles and I agree having him be best man at our wedding is punishment enough. Because they're like disappointed in him or whatever for bringing it up this way.
I think they were saying like, I don't know. That kind of sounds to me not that they're trying to punish him,
Right.
but that if him being best man is already like a
Right. I'm just saying that it's like, this is, maybe I'm just being sympathetic, but it's like he's going to have to work through that.
yeah.
And being best man is going to force him to be like, all right, well, this is clearly. And I
Real.
think he knows and understands like that's not happening.
Yeah.
And it has the elephant out of the room already. Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
No,
now.
it's okay. Here, let's finish this.
Fine.
He made sure to say that our friendship was still genuine and whatever we've gone through since we met was untainted. The moments of what if were brief, he said, but heavy. By the end of our talk, he was able to admit that maybe his feelings stem from desire for a relationship similar to mine and Miles, and not so much a desire for me specifically.
I think that's like maybe
good.
not necessarily the truth, but also very valid.
It's a
good
good way
cover
to,
up.
Yeah.
a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
I told him he's still very welcome to the wedding if he feels he's ready for something like that, and he told me he'll be there for sure. We left it at that. All in all, I'm confident everything will be okay. It might take a while before we're back to normal around each other, but we had a chance to talk and clear the air, and right now, that's good enough for me. And that is the end of that story.
That's a freaking end of the story.
That's a good,
I think it's a good ending.
I feel like that's a good ending to the story.
My brother refuses to act like an adult, so I force him to be one. I will force you. My brothers are all pigs. We had a very traditional house where girls cleaned and washed the dishes from the time we were old enough to walk and stand on chairs. And my brothers never did anything. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Hand Shot First. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime. Now, as adults, they cannot even turn on a washer. I very much resent how I felt like I had to raise my own father and how holidays and weekends were always spent with my brothers and dads playing around while we did all the cleaning. Even at Christmas, they got to play with their toys and we went into the kitchen. I do not care about excuses like, I was never taught. We're all adults now and they can YouTube and Google what they don't know. I learned how to patch walls, change tire, change oil, etc. All the gendered stuff I was never taught, so I don't see why he can't learn as well. My brother got put out by his girlfriend after they had their first kid because he does not help with anything. Since staying with me, I have forced him to do stuff. When he first moved in, my house went from my tidy, clean utopia to a disgusting mess. He would spit sunflower seeds on the floor. He hid his food in dirty laundries around the house. He would spit chewed gum behind the coffee machine, feet from the trash can, hide snack food everywhere, smoke on the toilet, put cigs out on my floor, which is a slap in the face as I asked him to not smoke inside because I don't smoke. Period. He would leave his dirty clothes everywhere, even on the living room floor, etc. Even when he ordered food for himself, he would eat at the table, then leave it for me to put away for him. Anytime he took anything out of the fridge, he would leave it on the table and often leave the fridge open. I am not joking. I found maggots 3 times from his mess. I lost it, and I told him to change his behavior completely or to get out. Well, he started doing stuff, but as badly as he could. He would put bowls in the dishwasher so they would be filled with nasty water, mop with the same water for days on end, leaving it smelling of rot, do his laundry by putting it in the washer, leaving it for me to finish, and putting food away by throwing it all over the fridge, spilling food everywhere. The best was when he put syrup away upside down on the top shelf with no lid on, coating my entire fridge in syrup that took hours to clean. Then he would say, "I am trying, you are just being a bee." I lost my temper, and I know I couldn't leave him on the street, so I divided the house. The cabinet doors all have locks from the previous owners, so I got him dishes from Goodwill and forbade him from using any of my dishes. He is eating off of his filthy dishes now. I made it very clear that anything left on the floors, clothing, etc. gets a 1-day grace period, and then it will be thrown away. The same goes for the few dishes he has, as he would leave them in the sink until they started to grow mold. I started locking my bathroom door, and he has to use the one in the basement, which I refuse to clean. If his clothes are on the washer for more than 8 hours and I need to use it, I dump them wet on his bed. Any trash he leaves lying around goes on his bed. If he orders food and gets up and he leaves his leftovers, I leave them to rot and then throw them away. Though twice the idiot left food out overnight and came out and started angrily eating it while glaring at me. Both times the idiot got food sickness.
Shocked. Wow. Color me shocked.
Dude, oh, I'm so mad at you. You didn't take my to-go box and put it in the fridge for me. Okay, I do be sometimes leaving those out. But still, okay. So he destroyed my fridge again, putting juice upside down with the lid barely on. I mopped it up with towels, dumped the towels and all my ruined food on his bed. Then put a lock on the fridge. He hates me and says I'm terrorizing him. I say I was forced to mother him as a child, but was never given the parental control to actually teach him how life works. Since my brothers used my childhood to treat me like I was a maid, I will no longer parent them. My view is some lessons have to be learned painfully. I will not gentle parent a grown man who cannot close a fridge door. Am I the a-hole? And there are some comments. Ages, whose house is it? Why haven't you punted him out already? OP, this is downvoted for some reason, says, I am 30, he is 33. This is my house. I guess my family is family. Just got beat into my head a lot. Another commenter said, suggestion, put a time limit on his time with you. Either he starts actually working towards a solution and away from weaponized incompetence that he's engaged with the juice and syrup, or he gets moved out. Is he paying for rent or food, utilities? I assume that you'd be fine without any of his additions towards these because you seemed okay before you invited him to disturb your peace. OP says he isn't paying anything because he lost his job during the vid and he says that he cannot find work. I was letting that go because I was making really good money and didn't need any of it from him, but he needs to contribute something and he is not. I think I will figure out a timeline and tell him that he has to do better or go. I am sure he can find some other woman to raise him. That is his usual move when his girlfriend puts him out. Why she puts up with it, I don't know, but I can't say anything because I do too. And there is an update literally later that day. I could not believe my eyes when I opened up Reddit and saw the number of notifications. Wow. So just to update everyone, things came to a head today. I had to work the early shift and had a session with my table tonight at 6. I was DMing a few DMD gamers. I begged my brother to keep the living room clean. I came home and the house was more trashed. I mean, it looked like a bomb went off. He even dropped a cup of milk on the floor and left it.
Oh, that's like the most rancid smell ever.
He left it.
Left milk is,
So I flung the whole milk jug at his head and screamed at him to GTFO. He tried to bulk up on me and I lost it, screaming, "Get out," over and over and over. I cleaned up the milk, then jumped online to message everyone to cancel and saw these 700 plus notifications. Y'all gave me some really good advice, and I knew reading those replies last night that this was over. I was going to give him a few weeks, but seeing that milk all across my new floor was the last straw. I don't know where he's going. I don't care. Thank you all. I love Reddit people. End of update. Quick gut check. Do we agree?
Should we throw milk at people? No.
No.
Even when we're mad, even when we're crying over
Yes.
said milk that is spilt. But there is a breaking point for
There-
every man, woman, and child,
Yes.
and I think this milk spiller definitely pushed OP past the breaking
Yes.
point. We've had this a couple times this stream. I think justified a whole like you're pushed, and also like it is a completely reasonable thing to want someone out of your place.
Yeah, I think specifically on kicking him out like that day, I think like, she offered her home, didn't have to. He terrorized her
Mhm.
in her own home with his
Yeah.
messiness. And it's like, once you do something like that, your repercussions have actions. Hey, if you want to literally destroy my house, you've destroyed your chances of staying here. Commenter says, really, why are you doing this? I absolutely do not have sympathy for you. You really can't be that dumb. Opie says, joke's on you. I really can be. Lol. No, I think growing up how I did, my family was just pushed into my head, and all the old ladies used to say that men couldn't help it. In my church, if you yelled at a man for any of this, you would be viewed as insane. Regardless, check my update. He is gone. Now, commenter says, it seems like he actively hates her, right? It's the syrup in the fridge that would have sent me over the edge. What a pain in the butt to clean. Opie said it was horrific to clean because I was gone for 3 days, and by the time I got back, it was like molasses. I ended up having to shove all of the fridge drawers in my bathtub and scrub them all. I was bawling. I was so upset. Commenter response, I would be willing to bet so much money that he listens to Andrew Tate and Joe Rogan and thinks that men and women should stick to strict gender roles, which men are always conveniently exempt from holding up their part of. Your brother is a piece of crap. Opie says he adores Ben Shapiro and Tate, but thinks that Joe Rogan is a little bee that needs to pick a side. He's also super into Nick Fuentes too, however you say his name. His favorite one is the guy that got in trouble for screaming at his pregnant wife. I can't remember his name. That's his favorite?
Is it Charlie Kirk?
Oh.
I feel like I remember hearing that.
Yeah. It's a Fox News guy.
Or
It's a Fox News
is
guy.
it Fox News or maybe
I know.
is it Tucker Carlson?
Yeah.
Is it Tucker Carlson?
I think it's Tucker Carlson. Another commenter said she was conditioned as a young child to accept crappy behavior from men. Even putting in this boundary is likely a big step for her. Of course, I hope she takes from this thread that he's abhorrent and she doesn't need to accept this behavior, though I get why she thinks that she can't just punch him out, even though she can and she should. Opie says this is 100% it. In my church, if you complain about men not cleaning, people would think you're insane. I posted this 10,000% thinking that I would get roasted for being a bee. Lol. And the commenter responds, I'm so sorry. Honestly, that sounds like a really toxic culture. I would try to find a more left-leaning church, but I understand that might not be possible in your area. Opie says I left the church in the area. I'm way lived up now, lol. And when he called me needing a place to go, I think I regressed a lot. But we have another update. 4 days later. Hello, everyone. I considered leaving the situation with my brother at the original post, but this post is blown up. It's being covered outside Reddit, so I figured I should tell you guys what has happened. To start, I know a lot of people seemed incredibly perplexed I even allow this. To this, all I can really reply is that I grew up in a very toxic environment. They are Mormons and not the modern kind. When I was a kid, I was not allowed to wear pants. My childhood, if you asked a man to clean, you would be looked at like you were insane, and if you got mad at a man being messy, it would even be implied that you could possibly be corrupted spiritually for attacking the original design. Obviously, after I left the church, I understood that things are different, but I'm not as healed as I thought. I obviously need a lot more therapy. I also got a few posts asking why I didn't include that I am autistic in my post. This is because it's just not relevant here. The actual update, my brother is missing in action. For anyone who missed it, the day after the post, I came home to a trash house. A glass of milk spilled all over the floor that had obviously been there for a while. I lost it on him, lugged the milk jug at his head, thankfully missing, and screamed at him over and over to get out. He tried to square up to me, but I screamed so loud it was hard to talk the next day. I think he got the hint then. Almost ripped my door in two doing it. I had to replace the hinge. I knew some people wanted me to sue him, but during this whole situation, I was confronted with a health scare, just some weird looking moles, but I was still worried. So I did not want to deal with that. He left, get this, and went to the house of his 19-year-old girlfriend. Apparently, he met this girl when she went to the bar for her 18th birthday. I had no idea this was going on, but all of my brothers did. To recap, he had a baby with his girlfriend of 8 years this month. And the editor's note, this girlfriend of 8 years is different than the 19-year-old girlfriend currently. I told them all to F off when my mom messaged me crying because no one knows where your brother is. He just left with some girl. I told her I do not care. I did. Call me crazy. Messaged the girl to tell her he is bad news, but she called me a crazy punt and blocked me. I also messaged the girl's mom, who seems worried, but basically said she cannot do anything because her daughter is of legal age. I guess they took off and skipped town and will not tell anyone where they are. Outside of worry for this girl, I don't really care. I am too busy chilling with my ex and my wonderful niece. I am going to take care of my health and focus on my life. So this next update is 8 days later. To catch you up, my brother's a pig. He destroyed my home. This led to me figure out my whole family kind of stinks, and he ended up leaving with his barely legal girlfriend, leaving his newborn baby and his ex, whom he was cheating on. He was cheating on him. Okay, there you go. Well, after all of this, I have not talked to anyone in my family at all, but kept in contact with his ex and have been spending a lot of time with the baby. I never liked his ex. She was with him for a reason. I think the only reason they lasted for years instead of my brother's usual couple of weeks or months before the girl runs screaming is because she is, in a lot of ways, like him.
Two peas in a pod.
There it is.
Two cloths cut from the same larger cloth.
And they spilled that cup and it's all over the floor and he's not going to clean it.
Ooh.
Now, even knowing all that, I kept in contact like a dummy because I felt so awful over the kid being left, the baby. I secretly think they're doomed because of their goofy parents. I know how horrible it is to think that. I wanted to be a positive force in the kid, the new baby's life. Well, my brother found out somehow that I've been around the kid and somehow got my new number, which totally perplexes me because no one in my family has it. He called me and cried that he doesn't want me around the kid because I will never do to this child what I did to him. And that left me confused because when he left, he declared his ex must have cheated and the child wasn't his. They clearly are. So why is he saying his child? And I have never done anything to him. I was made to be his mom, which is crazy also because he's older, but never even given the authority to correct him. So I spent my life chasing after him, cleaning up his mistakes, whilst he tormented me and treated me so horribly. I ended up literally medically diagnosed with PTSD. I asked him what I did to him, and he said I always judged him, and even when he was a kid, I looked at him with judgment.
But you're so judgeable.
Yeah, why you have so many judgeable... You allege to store juice and syrup upside down without a cap.
That should be judged. You know,
What are we supposed to do with that?
we're supposed to judge. That's what we're supposed to do.
We say, hey,
Don't do that.
don't do that because you're
Are you
getting
a silly
syrup.
Billy? I don't want to use language like that, but
Yeah, that's a little bit much, Sam. Honestly, that's...
yeah, you
That's
know,
crazy.
but you're really pushing me to my edge. You're cutting me to my quick. You're gooning me like
Oh,
no
God.
other.
So I hung up on him right there because, lol, I judged him. No, duh. I could fill books and books with all the bad choices he has made and all of the horrible things that he's also done to others. From the time he could talk, it seemed like all he cared about was hurting others and offending others, and he has never been actually punished for anything. I was the only one who judged him, and after his actions, he rightfully should be in jail. If the worst thing he suffered was his judgment, I mean, lol. I have suffered way worse, often at the hands or because of his choices. Cold truth is, if it wasn't for my judgment and care, he would be gone from an OD about 1 billion times
Yeah,
over.
dude, the judgment kept him on the straight and
Dude,
narrow.
Come on.
You're
Or
welcome. I saved your life.
saved you.
I think you owe me. You owe me a life debt.
Dude, he was
You are mine.
Come on. He would have called the wrong person a slur and found out the hard way. The only thing that kept him alive was me trailing after him, fixing mess after mess. He's more tightly wound than someone's hoodie.
Honestly,
I don't even
this
know.
man needs to be tied up. He needs to be put in a straitjacket.
And you know what? OP needs to get untangled from the brother.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that for a second.
It's too much. It's too much. There needs to be boundaries.
But he apparently talked to his ex, and she has blocked me and told me that I'm never allowed to mess up their child like I messed up him. I do not need anyone to tell me she is appealing to my brother to try and win him back, and that this is two deeply broken, messed up people blaming their shortcomings on me because it's easier than looking in a mirror. I know. By the way, if you've looked into a mirror today and said, hey, I'm slumped over. I have a hoodie wrapped around me so
Maybe
tightly.
you're cozy.
I'm too cozy even, but I need content to keep me going. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, search OK Storytime, 2,000 podcast episodes. Don't know what else to tell you.
John, how many episodes is that?
That is more episodes than hair on your pretty little head.
I hope not.
Anyways, Opie says, I felt something snap in me, and it was like all my care, anxiety, and worry drained out of my body. I don't care about this anymore. I don't care about this anymore, or any of them. I changed my number again, limited my contact list even more, and when I can, I am moving. I will not be providing any more updates on him or my family because I do not care about these people anymore. I do not plan to have contact again. Thank you for all the help. And there were some comments. Did X give brother Opie's number? She actually didn't have my number. I figured she would give him my number. So whenever I changed it, I told her I lost my phone and couldn't replace it immediately. I take an iPad to school, so she was just calling me on my Facebook Messenger. So everyone keeps saying that she was the one to give my number. She didn't have it.
And that is all that was written.
That was all that was written, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow,
Wow.
Family man, you can't live with them.
And that's it. And you just can't live with them.
Yeah, I can't live with them.
How you doing over there, Sam?
There's a time in every man's life. The world just beats him down and then beats him off.
Oh, God.
And I'm right between those two.
Oh, God, he's giving options. This is premium service.
My brother's mean message ruined my plans. I bawled my eyes out.
Oh, wait. Don't do that.
I have 3 siblings, 2 brothers and a sister, ranging from 28 male, 26 female, 23 male, to me, 20 female. We all live in different states in the United States of America. Background: our family grew up with some problems. Dad was an harmful regular user for a good while. He's doing all right now. Mom was there for us, still tries, but does her share of things that upset various combinations of her children, depending on what it is. She's changed a lot. By the way, this comes from I Prefer Rainbows. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, as a result, a lot of myself and my siblings' personalities have been, in one way or another, shaped by the events during our time at home and after. My brother, who we'll call James, has adopted a sort of mediator personality over the years. He's a 9 in the...
Numerology?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm a 9. Both of my parents are also 9s.
I'm a 2. It's not numerology.
I'm forgetting what it's called. It's like
Enneagram. I'm a 2. I'm a helper. When we were younger, his end game was just to make everyone stop fighting and be happy. Today, he still tries to be the mediator. He is often successful, but sometimes he is objective to a fault. The usual complaint from me about him is when a situation arises that he should definitely take an emotional position on or make a stand for against in our family, he will usually just completely stay out of it as to avoid sides. This can make me and others feel like he isn't there for us when we have been wronged. He got a good job right out of college and is doing well. So now he also likes to give advice to the point where I've had to ask him to tone it down. All around, he's a good guy, just seems to suppress his emotions sometimes and get a bit cocky from his achievements. My sister, Jess, 26 female, does not have a good relationship with my brother, 28 male, who we'll call Dan. The two of them haven't gotten along for as long as I can remember. Jess had to take on a responsibility when things were going down the drain in our lives, and I think that made her sensitive, hot-tempered at times, and easily defensive. She's just still this way and can be a huge witch if you say something that offends her. Ultimately, she's a really sweet person who has contributed a lot to my life. She's very happy and bubbly. She would be there for anyone. She is just really sensitive and does not like to be lectured. Therefore, it can be a nightmare to be around if she feels offended. It is her way to cope of getting her feelings hurt. The oldest, Dan, has historically led a lot of anger over the events of our past life and the ones that are still affecting us today. My other siblings and I have come to terms with a lot of the things that have happened to us and generally enjoy our lives. OP, I'm gonna need some plots here. I'm just kind of getting the infrastructure. I'm not getting any plot lines here. He has for my whole life been angry and struggling to figure himself out, resulting in a lot of lashing out, name-calling, physical intimidating displays, and scrutiny of everyone who is doing something wrong in his eyes. Currently, Dan is very successful. He has worked very hard for years to get where he is now, which is in a position of employment that is usually occupied by someone twice his age.
Nuclear physicist.
Whoever's writing this is a nuclear physicist because they're like explaining this very well without any context. I don't understand it. He is involved in disorienting amount of extracurriculars. He's constantly busy. He's got a great salary, a great apartment, is in grad school, and is always looking to improve his resume. He doesn't let anyone forget these things, whether on purpose or by accident. His physical aggression and over-the-top actions have passed away down a few years now as a result of getting himself out of a dark place, which was likely caused by the accumulation of our family's problems. During this time, it was just awful to deal with and scary. Now to the main issue with him is his temper. Okay, we got a main issue here?
Temperament. That's our issue. He's a temperamental fella.
He will freak out on all of you for it. He will yell, hang up the phone, and may or may not crap talk you to anyone who will listen on later. He will keep you on the phone, ranting about this or that for an hour if you let him. And when you want to get off the phone, he would more than often than not make you feel bad for it. He constantly wants to know the updates of my life, my plans for jobs, interns, etc. If you don't take his advice, which by itself is usually good and logical, he looks at you like you're an effing up your whole life unless you instead do something that he will approve of. You need to be doing something to further your life all the time. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like me and Dan kind of are the same guy.
Oh, really? I was about to take so many shots at Dan right now.
Go ahead. I feel like the worst possible version of myself is Dan. Because I do feel everything that I do, like when I'm chilling out, hanging out, I can't watch Parks and Rec. I gotta watch a TV show I've never seen before. That is gonna better me as a person. You know, I have a really hard time slowing down, just doing whatever. I feel like I need to like always be doing more for my resume. I don't know how to live life, dude.
Dan's doing the thing where it's like he's got a lot of positives going on. And sometimes you'll meet people like this in your life. They're not necessarily like evil or like terrible people, but they become very sort of, their perspective becomes narrowed to just basically their own because they've experienced so much success in their own life that they kind of approach things with the perspective of like, well, everyone should want to do what I did because look at where I am now. Like, everything worked out for me. So you shouldn't want that thing that you just said you want. You should want this instead because look at me. And it really just comes from a lack of, I think, understanding that like not everybody wants what you want or what worked for you. Like it's probably the most common like argument between like parents and children is parents being like, well, you need to do this because you want this. And then the kids don't want that. They're like, you should want that. The kid's like, I don't want this thing that you say I should want. I don't.
Sorry, Grandpa. I don't want to work at the sawmill. Which I never had to say that to my grandpa.
Because he does want to work at the sawmill, honestly. He yearns for labor.
You know why? It's because of my freaking grandpa and great-grandpa. Every Saturday morning, we would go and cut firewood. And they probably wouldn't go back home until 4. And then guess what they did at 4 o'clock? They went to the garden and picked green beans and maintenance the garden. It's in my blood. I can't help it.
It's in your blood to work. Your workhorse.
In college, I wouldn't do anything on Saturdays, and I would feel like the absolute worst because I'm like, I should be working right now. It was so bad. I think he's a good person deep down. I have come to think he's just incredibly sensitive, maybe even more than the rest of us, and gives us suffocating advice as his way of contributing to our lives, being involved, and making up for the way he has done before. I am the youngest, been through more schools than any of them, and just as many houses. I've got the short end of the stick on a lot of things, and everyone recognizes that, which is saying something considering the things everyone else has to deal with. I'm currently in college, and while I have loans, I'm getting help from mainly my mom and sporadically my dad. The problem is, my 21st birthday is coming up over the summer. I am the last kid to turn 21. All I've been wanting since before we began to actually plan anything was to get all of my siblings in one place, to have a drink with them, no fighting, take a picture, and have a great memory for when things aren't so great in the future. Something I can be happy about and cherish. This is important to me for the majority of my life as a contributing member of society. You could have just said citizen, man, if we're really going to be working on our vocabulary here.
Well, this isn't the Roman Empire.
But they're a citizen. They literally said they're a contributing member of society. Just say you're a citizen, dude. That's the definition of citizen.
This is a prime example of Riley trying not to waste time. Why say more words when few words do trick?
A lot of the terrible things we all had to deal with got worse while my brother and sister were in and out of college, leaving me alone for some of real life changing things. They've all kept in touch, but it is very hard not to have them with me physically. Today, James and I were solidifying our plans to get all the kids together. He has ostracized a lot of the planning with me as we decided to have everyone fly to where he lives. We also decided that instead of having the get together on my birthday, we were going to plan to have it on his birthday, which is about 2 weeks after mine. I agreed to this because it was on a holiday weekend, giving us an extra day of fun, as well as an additional reason to celebrate. We decided to also include my cousin Jeremy, 28 Mel, who is very close to us. After getting off the phone with James today, he had me call Dan, Jess, and Jeremy to tell them the for sure plan. As they knew the rough plan before, I called Dan first and told him the plan. His response was something like this. Well, that weekend might be the first weekend of classes for me, so I probably won't be able to attend. The other thing is that Grandma is going to sell the house later this year, so Dad wants us to go there. So we could just meet there. And frankly, I have no interest in going to insert city where James lives because it's dirty and smelly.
New York City.
Or Chicago.
Or Chicago, I was going to say that. And don't hate us. I like going to both of those cities, but they are dirty.
I've never been to Chicago.
Oh, you've never been to Chicago? Chicago's less dirty than New York, I think.
I stay away from cities.
I just had to say that to all my New York folks out there. New York City is dirty.
But the water's good.
You know what they do with the trash in New York? When it's trash day and you're a business, where do you put your trash?
They put it in the ocean.
They literally pile it up on the sidewalk.
No, they did a $4 million research about how to use the correct trash cans for them.
No, there's no trash cans.
There are now.
No, I know that they don't. Because New York City's so old, the infrastructure, the way it's built, is not designed for trash trucks or trash routes. So a lot of places, just by the nature of how it is built, cannot use dumpsters or like trash pickup like that. So they have to just take all the trash and put it on the sidewalk on the curb. It's crazy.
My response was that I might have classes too, but I'm trying to work it out. So is there anything you could do to work it out? Then he said that he wasn't going to miss classes for that it would send a bad message to those who might be concerned. My response, which was prompted by the insult to where James lived, was fumbled. Well, Dan, not to sound like a brat, I don't think it's always about you sometimes. It wouldn't matter to me if we were meeting in a cardboard box. It's a family thing, and I would just want everyone together. So could we just try to see? Well, I didn't even make it to cardboard before he hung up on me mid-sentence. I didn't even get to surprise him with Jeremy's potential attendance. I sat there for a moment, then called James and told him what happened. We talked for a bit, and a notable point being made that Grandma is Dad's mom and not very pleasant. Jess and Grandma don't entirely speak, and overall, suggesting we go to Grandma's was really out of left field. James said he would call Dan and get him to come around. When I hung up, I saw the text message from Dan. From Dan, I had waiting for me that said, I'm really effing sick and tired of your nonsense. You're a complete flake, terrible at following up. Frankly, an effing liar. You constantly blow people off when they ask you things or offer you help. You lay around seemingly doing nothing half the effing time and waste all sorts of resources and opportunities. While you whine about money when you're the only kid in the whole family that got any kind of financial support for school, you are a coward towards the world, pisses me off to no end. It's a waste of effing potential. You're not just a brat. You're beyond selfish. You call me at work and then tell me to spend $700 to fly across the country for a weekend to a city I frankly hate on what may be one holiday weekend to potentially skip the first day of classes in my master's degree for a program of study that meets once a week. basically equivalent to 2 weeks of undergrad classes. Then you start telling me I'm being selfish and try to guilt me with family, although it's really just convenient for you and James. You're completely self-centered.
Hey, you can just say you don't want to meet up.
No, we're never like, no is the worst thing they could say.
Yeah, that was way worse than no. That was so overblown. It's like, just be like, I really am not going to go.
Yeah, just say that.
Also, I have to point out when we were talking about the dirty cities, we left out Los Angeles.
Yeah, Los Angeles is pretty dirty.
It's disgusting.
Especially Hollywood. I don't like being around Hollywood.
Hollywood? Dude, I lived right off Hollywood Boulevard. I'll never live there again because of how freaking filthy disgusting it was.
I'm going to keep going. We're not even halfway done. I was bawling for an hour. I called my boyfriend, who then tried to find the words to help me. He wound up saying that he thought Dan's behavior was learned from my father and thinks it's interesting that he usually puts crap on my mom and Jess, not James and my dad, even though my dad is the root of many of our family's problems. Jan's justification for not crapping on my dad is that he is at least trying to make up for the terrible things he did now. His main source of helping now is by giving us money here and there. He often says, when I come to some money, I'm going to help all my kids. Paying for college was something I never wanted any of you to do, which is why he helps me with money now. Anyway, when James eventually texted saying, so Dan really likes the idea, the dates may work for him, but he's not yet sold on James City. However, I'm putting a good case for him to change his mind. Let me keep working on him and see what comes of it.
For God's sakes, dude, no one's asking you to move there to the city for the rest of your life. It's a week.
Dude, I'm just seeing this man's misogynistic.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, here's it from someone else, and now it's a great idea. When he hears it from OP, and she's the worst, she's self-centered, and how do you know this? And you're just trying to sabotage my educational career. And then he's like, actually, that's a pretty sick idea, but I'm still not sold on the city.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so, I don't know. He sounds really obnoxious.
Yeah. Also, hot take, OP sounds obnoxious because of how formal they are. This is hard.
This whole story is a little obnoxious.
I then sent him a screenshot of the text messages. This is the conversation that followed. James, he says things like that once in a while to me. Definitely not defending him. That's a little intense. Definitely uncalled for and untrue. I'm sorry. He should certainly apologize. Like I said, he does like the idea and wants to do something, but I don't know if you want to do something with him anymore after that, unless he apologizes. Me. You read over his messages a few times and tell me how you would have handled it. James, I agree. Uncalled for. And too much.
Dude, James hit the nail on the head right there.
Me. None of it should have been said whatsoever. To say it was too much suggests it was a good amount at some point. James, you are correct. Shouldn't have been said at all. I'm sorry. I told him it was effed. He needs to apologize. Me. I appreciate that. But personally, what I am supposed to do, I feel like with Dan, we all have subconsciously accepted his typical a-hole behavior as normal, and only when he really goes over the top we say, because it's Dan. But the fact is, I can't think of the last time you or Jess even said a fraction of that to me. If one of your friends said that to you, you would stop being their friend. I can't stop being his sister. So what am I supposed to do? Accept a forced, likely faked half-blood apology? To keep at peace that obviously isn't really even there? If stuff like this happens with him regularly, which I realized tonight is almost always exclusively directed at women and the family.
Oh, you were right.
I don't think anyone has the right to answer here because most people aren't/shouldn't be prepared to deal with this kind of atrocious situation. The rest of the conversation was James agreeing that we tend to move on after Dan does something like this, that he doesn't believe it's generally exclusive, and that I think he is way too old to be getting away with such hurtful things. I said that this wasn't an accidental witch comment. He hung up on me and planned it out.
OP just said like, hey, so I think we need to stop just being like, it's Dan. Because if anyone else on earth had sent something like this to us, we would never speak to them again. And James is like, yeah, you're right, because that actually was super over the line.
A couple of hours later, Dan sent me an email. I thought he was apologizing, but nope. It was an email to all the siblings addressing the trip as a whole, suggesting other places we could go, calling it a siblings trip that was also for celebrating birthdays. Our birthdays were the purpose of the gathering. It wasn't even supposed to be a trip. I just don't know what to do. This was the worst thing Dan has ever said to me, but I feel like if I don't forgive him, the whole trip is going to be ruined. This was supposed to be a happy thing. I mean, I said one thing and he lost it. I don't think I've ever been ripped down like that. What he said warranted by me saying that it wasn't all about him all the time. My brother, sister, and mom all think that it was totally uncalled for. But when it comes to Dan, I second guess myself all the time. What should I do? Honestly, probably get the other siblings involved. Don't include Dan. Invite Jeremy. Jeremy can be Dan for you, the cousin.
I think what really needs to happen here is an attempt at some kind of intervention. Because, like, from what he said to you, like, Dan clearly needs to apologize. And your forgiveness of him can happen outside of his apology, and then you can just reassess your relationship is at with him, and you can let that go. That's one thing. But, like, he needs to be able to say, what I did was wrong, and I am sorry to you. And if his intense anger is something that hasn't changed or hasn't really gotten better, then I think all the siblings should get together and be like, hey, we all saw what you said to OP and we all agree it's unacceptable.
Unacceptable. That's just crazy to say that to your sibling. After the whole thing happened, I gave it a few days to think about what I was going to do. And I decided for that the time being, I didn't want anything to do with Dan. I also decided not to include him in the planning process until he apologized, called it, and he never did. Then we weren't going to include him. He has done a lot of terrible things to the family, to each of us individually, and all of us as a whole. He has a lot of emotional problems that I hope he can one day get help for. So after those few days passed, my brother James, 23 Mel, and I talked on the phone for a long time. I told him my decision, and he encouraged me to reconsider. He said that while he understood I was hurt, Dan has come a long way in the past few years and is doing extensively better now than he ever has. He continued to say he is just easily offended. He really does want to be a part of the sibling get-together, and he keeps talking about it. I told him that I think it isn't right for him to put up with Dan constantly negative, harmful, and hurtful attitude towards anyone and everyone who gets on his bad side, just because he has come a long way.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sorry. I just really have to say that's like being like, well, he's not breaking my legs anymore. He's just breaking my ankles.
Still a part of your legs. His behavior not being as bad as before shouldn't mean that he gets to do whatever he wants and now will be tolerated. I went on to say that I have been talking to Dan a lot more all year, and every time I do, he uses me as an emotional one-twoing bag. He badmouths our mother, how she's an evil money stealer, and he hopes he never has to see her or talk to her again. He says our sister is wasting her life and everything she does is wrong. Even badmouths James, who has historically always been on his side. Even when we give him good advice, even though he does great financially and academically, he still finds reasons to be miserable all the time and puts that on anyone else that will listen. I told James about how when Dan calls, if I don't answer the phone every time, or if I'm in the middle of something and don't have time to listen to him rant for 45 minutes straight, that isn't an exaggeration, he will sit and rant nonstop until you cut him off. He literally makes you feel bad for it. He says things like, okay, it's just, I don't have any other support systems and I really wanted to talk about this, but fine, whatever. Every time. It's manipulative, not sincere.
Excuse me, sir, that's what therapists are for.
There have been instances where I have company or I'm at the library and he will keep talking until I literally have to hang up on him. I even offered to text him, but he says he really doesn't feel like texting. He wanted to talk. He is very rude and makes me feel like he doesn't even enjoy talking with me. He just likes to hear himself speak and know someone is listening to it. I genuinely believe that it's all about him. Dude, I know someone like this, and I literally cannot stand them.
It's not me, right?
It's definitely not you. This guy I'm thinking about, dude, it's bad. It's really bad.
Unknowingly being this guy is one of my, like, greatest fears. Is, like, just being this guy, like, the night, that day. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, my gosh. Second time I ever met Dakota, he was having an existential crisis, literally. And I was talking with my girlfriend, and it was pretty late at night. And me and Angie were like hanging out.
Don't say it was pretty late at night. It was not late. It was early in the party.
No, it was not. It was midnight. Dude, everyone was gone and everyone was wrapping up and you were there.
This was at the beginning of the party. I know that for a fact.
Anyways, it felt late to me. That's my truth. Anyways, I told James that he does it to everyone. And no one ever stands up to him out of fear of his reactions. No one wants to deal with the fallout from denying his excessive behavior. I'm admitted to him that although I can't speak for everyone sometimes, I feel like he takes his mediator role so seriously that when Dan has really hurt me, he doesn't have my back because he's trying so hard to be neutral. He told me I made a lot of great points and he would understand if I decide not to talk to Dan anymore until he apologizes. Additionally, I called my sister Jess and talked to her about my decision, and she went on board with it. I mentioned in my last post about her and Dan don't get along, mostly because of Dan having treated her horribly for years. She admitted to feeling some frustration over the fact that she has been trying to stand up to him for years. Whenever she does, any combination of us will tell her just to let it go because we want Dan to stop. I apologize for ever making her feel like I wasn't there for her or I didn't support her and that her efforts were inspiring. We did end on a solid note. I also talked to my mother about the whole thing. Who else did you start to talk to, OP? Your dog? Your grandma?
I talked to every person on my LinkedIn.
Dan's neighbor?
Talked to everyone in my Google Plus circles.
And she told me that I was making a big mistake. She said that deciding not to include him in the gathering was a big thing to do, and I couldn't take it back once I did, and that the consequences would be irreversible. I reminded her that Dan has been treating her like crap personally for years, and I wish she wouldn't still allow him to walk all over her in hopes that one day he would treat her well the way he did once. She agreed that he does treat her terribly, but still hoped I would include him in the gathering since she loves all her children. I think she can't handle this situation. I haven't spoke to Dan since the blow up. It's been about a month, and he hasn't tried to contact me whatsoever. He's talked to everyone else, though he has been talking to my mother, which really bothers me considering what he always says about her and how he actively treats her. At this point, I'm really not sure what to do. I've sort of been coasting for this whole month. No one has really addressed anything or talked about it. I focused on other things, and it's been nice to not have to deal with all the stress that comes from talking to Dan. But I do miss him. I miss his voice and his input. Should I call Dan? Should I bring it up to my siblings? I continue to talk to everyone else just fine. I feel like we are just avoiding the Dan issue, but as the date draws nearer, it's still a few months away, we will probably have to start talking about it again because he made it clear a long time ago that the gathering was important to us. I keep thinking about what my mom said, in that if I decide to take such a big stand against Dan, that the action could cause permanent damage to our relationship. But then I remembered that it shouldn't be my job to bend over backwards to keep a peace that must not even be there.
Yeah, I kind of agree with OP. Like, the mom is being like, oh, well, you could potentially damage your relationship, but it's like Dan's doing it because he's holding the relationship hostage with his potential reaction.
Thinking about this person, I'm just like, why are you even entertaining it? This kind of story is what bothers me.
This is your nightmare trigger story?
This is my nightmare story. This is the worst story I've ever read or thought about, frankly.
It's time for a sibling intervention. I would not do this solo.
Me neither. Thinking about it, never talking to Dan again breaks my heart. But I'm exhausted. Me too, OP. I mean, I go through cycles of anger, sadness, happiness, and everything in between. But I feel like Dan is angry all the time. I don't understand how he's hopped up on something. By the way, you guys can be hopped up on all the freaking OK Storytime stories we've ever freaking read. And there is a magical quest you can go on. All you got to do is click that favorite button for your podcast of choice. Search up these magical words in the search bar.
OK Storytime.
And boom, there is the gold of riches and glory of all the relationship advice you can take on as a person. Just press play.
That's you pressing the button. For some reason, it's analog and not a touch screen, and it goes, but you've got a whole big setup here. You've got a contraption. You've got a doohickey that plays OK Storytime.
Dude, that would be such a good doohickey. I'm going into this story. I think we all know how we feel.
Because he wants to talk about gooning.
Every time we speak, and I know why my other family members feel the same. He really has come a long way, though, and no matter what, he has a huge heart. He has admitted to and apologized for a lot of things, but it's hard to give that any real weight when his bad behavior has never actually stopped. I know he loves us and just shows it in a weird way, and we love all of him no matter what, and it's so hard to do anything drastic. Thank you, everyone, for your honest opinions about my actions and everyone else's as well. And that is the end of that story. Let's go. Wow.
My sister is furious I forgave my brother. She doesn't know how I did it.
Why didn't you give me the cheat code? Up, down, A, B, start.
My siblings and I have had a really complicated relationship. They are 8 and 5 years older than me. Our father was a very heavy drinker, and he passed away in a car accident when I was 3 years old, so I have very few memories of him, practically none. My brother and sister obviously remember a lot more than I do, and were mistreated by him during their childhood. As far as I know, he never laid a hand on me. By the way, this comes from Coca-Cola, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, for lack of a better word, they were both bullies to me. My brother wasn't so much a bully, but he was very intimidating, very strict, and would be very scary when I did something bad.
Sounds like a bully.
Yeah, I was scared of him for most of my childhood. My sister was more of a typical bully. She hit me a lot, slapped me, took out her anger on me, teased me, picked on me. In retrospect, I understand that my siblings were acting out a lot of aggression from their traumatic childhoods. It's very sad to think about from an objective POV. However, at the time, I always felt scared of them and hated them when they were being mean to me, which is, I mean, you're a kid. You didn't understand why they were doing it.
Yeah.
But my brother went straight into the Navy after high school and became a totally different person. I don't know what exactly changed for him, but he became responsible, caring, patient, compassionate, and understanding. He really made an effort to be nice to me whenever he came home, which was not often, but it really made a difference to me when I was a kid. My sister never changed. If anything, she got worse. A little later in the year, she refused to come to my high school graduation or get me a gift when my mom and aunts and uncles pressured her because, in her words, she never got me a gift for my high school graduation. I was 12 when she graduated.
Holding a good old grudge, aren't we?
I mean, after that, we rarely had any contact with each other, and if we did, it was always strained and weird and unpleasant. My brother got married a few years ago and had a daughter last year, and we remained on good terms with each other. I also got along with his wife. Earlier this year, he invited me on vacation with them to Mexico. For the first time ever, he actually sat me down and talked about the elephant in the room and fumbled through explaining why he was so mean to me when I was young, how he felt very bad for what he did, how he tried to make up for it in his own way when I was young, but that he was sorry for never actually apologizing to me. He said that he had a lot of growing up to do, a lot of damage to undo, and it took getting married and having his own child to really understand fatherhood and forgive ours and try to fix his relationships. I mean, like, really huge props to this guy. Huge props to this guy for recognizing, you know, kind of working through his childhood.
Breaking down generational trauma.
Love that.
Damn.
I, of course, accepted this apology because I have come to terms with a lot of my issues and heartaches as well. And I do recognize that he tried to be nicer to me since he left the house. Ever since then, our relationship has been stronger. I love that.
This is getting me emotional
Me
and like
too.
I'm like hyped up. I'm like, yeah.
And I have really appreciated his efforts. I have no anger towards him anymore. We see each other often and have since gone on another vacation to Miami with his family.
Oh, God.
My sister
No.
has apparently found out about our newly reconciled relationship through social media and other family members.
Oh, this is going to be complicated.
She called me on the phone for the first time in over a year last week.
Okay.
At first, I thought it was a normal call, but it became increasingly passive aggressive. And she kept bringing up the past and saying, you know, I know that your brother and I were pretty crappy to you when we were growing up. We went through a lot of things you don't remember or you never saw. And I tried my best to be a good sister to you, but you were colicky and difficult as a baby. As a baby?
Okay, so you're
She's
not
like, you had colic as a baby, and that was really a bummer for me.
when you're blaming the baby, you're
You
not ready to
haven't-
reconcile
Nope.
yet.
You haven't learned anything, girl. And I think it was better that you grew up without a father rather than having to deal with a dad who hit you. Why are you trying to one-up OP? This is not an apology.
What are we doing?
Why? Why did you even come back?
You're like, we were both bad to you, but you're a terrible baby.
You're a baby and you sucked.
You're a mean baby. I saw some of those side eyes you were giving me.
Yeah. One time you cried and
I was like, oh, here we go again.
I mean, just on and on and on. No apologies or remorse. Just all these weird, passive-aggressive excuses and explanations about things I already know about. I wasn't exactly cold to her, but I just have nothing to say about these things. I just said, I know. So what do you really want to say? What's going on? Then she lashed out at me and said, nothing is going on. I just wanted to talk to you about why things were the way they were. Why do you always have to be such an a-hole about things?
Uh-oh. I guess it's because I'm still
a
The
little
bad baby.
Wow. It was really frustrating, and we both hung up in a bad mood. Later, she sent me an email getting to the point, which was that she felt upset that our brother and I had reconciled our past and how badly he treated me, but I have no mind to reconcile with her. Because you haven't apologized.
Yeah.
You called OP up to blame her for being a baby. If you want a relationship, apologize to her.
Yeah, it's like he apologized very sincerely and heartfeltly after having his own family and realizing, oh my God, I've made so many mistakes. I wish I could have been better. And you called her and yelled at her and called her a bad baby.
She said she feels left out and outcasted from this love fest, and she doesn't know why or what she did wrong. In my anger, I impulsively wrote her an email right back to say that she never even apologized for how she acted, only gave excuses. Also, our brother never ever hit me like she did or picked on me. And also, she never even tried to reach out to me about these issues until just now when she felt left out. Our brother has at least tried to be nice to me since I was 10. She sent an email back saying she doesn't have to apologize for supposedly hitting me when I was younger because she was disciplining me and spanking me as a child, not a me for no reason. Jesus Christ, get over yourself. You don't know what I've been through, and now you refuse to maintain a relationship with me to get revenge on me to hurt me?
Newsflash, you also hadn't called me in over a year.
Really, really sad.
Where are we at?
This is so sad because, like, clearly this is a woman who thinks everyone is out to get her because she's been raised in that environment. And now she truly doesn't understand why OP won't have a relationship with her. Like, she doesn't get it. I stopped responding after that because I was getting way too upset. She sent me 2 more emails after that with similar ranting. I just feel all over the place. On one hand, I feel genuinely sorry that she's had such a hard life, and I know she isn't an evil person. She's never been expressive or affectionate. I know she carries a lot of pain and hurt inside her. She did her best to get through a difficult life. On the other hand, F you!
Yeah. On the other hand,
I was like, I totally understand what she went through. On the other hand,
absolutely not.
don't terrorize me for not accepting an apology you never gave, never even took ownership for. I can't count how many times she ripped hair out of my head, supposedly disciplining me, or attacked me. I have gotten tons of therapy and tried to forgive her in my own way. But God, don't demand that we become besties forever and then get mad that I don't want to play along. It's not that I intend to cut her out of my life, but I should give this some space, right? Should I let her know that? Just ghost for a while? Should I limit my social media photos? Should I try to discuss this with my brother? Or should I try to sit down with her in person and talk it out? And there are some comments. I think if you actually want change here, maybe getting the brother to come with you and having a conversation with your sister and saying, hey, this didn't happen with nothing. You know, this happened because, like, me and my brother, we're friends now because we put in the work. And saying, like, I've been going to therapy. I've been working through this. I think that is an option where you could have that in-person conversation. I do think a mediator, I think your brother would probably be the most helpful because you guys went through it together.
Well, she might feel ganged up on,
She
but
might
I
be.
do agree with that. Where it's like, that's the most relevant person. Just the whole perspective she's approaching it from is just so weird, where she's like, she somehow heard about the love fest and she's like, I don't understand why I'm being kept on the outside of it. Like, it's like you and your brother went to go get like ice cream and didn't get her like a cone. It's like, that's not what happened. This isn't like a product that we went and bought somewhere. This is like a thing we had to craft out of like all the broken pieces of our childhood and our trauma. And it literally took him having his own child until he figured it out.
So it's something that happened overnight.
Yeah.
But there's some comments. Comment 1 says, I would keep it to a script. We can have a better relationship when you treat me better. If she keeps pressing, our brother has apologized and made amends with me and treats me well. You can't blame everything on what happened in the past. All you offer are excuses and deflections. You should take responsibility for your actions and behavior. Comment 2 says, I think that graduation story is actually a nice parallel to this incident. It's about being entitled. Your sister does not care about you or your brother or the substance of your reconciliation. She just sees you and your brother as happy and loving, and so now she wants that too. She feels like she should get to have it even though she hasn't earned it. So what she's doing is this. She sees what she wants, and she knows vaguely about how you guys achieved it. So now she's trying to initiate it in order to fool you into giving her the reconciliation you and your brother have. She's aping what she thinks your brother did. I think the real catch here is that by the way you describe your sister, it doesn't sound like she especially wants what comes with reconciliation.
Right.
It doesn't appear that she's desperate for a closer relationship with you or even a warmer one.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a case of her seeing you and your brother being happy, and so she feels like she should get whatever you got to make you happy.
Yeah.
It's like a kid that sees another kid playing with a toy and instantly wants it. Yeah, she's like, give it to me. And then she like has it and she's like, I'm bored.
Have you seen kids do that?
Yeah.
It makes me so upset. Kid just
And
being like,
children-
give me mine, give me. And then they just have it and they go,
Yeah.
why did we scream and cry about that thing? You just threw it all the way across the room.
That's being a child. But she doesn't really have an excuse because she's not a child anymore.
She's a fully grown adult.
The other important thing is that you can't take reconciliation. It absolutely has to be earned. It's abundantly clear that that's what you'd be doing if you humor your sister's demands. If you cave to her, it'll just be two people pretending to have reconciled. What good is that? I can see no benefit in forcing yourself to further engage with this BS reconciliation attempt. And that is the end of that story.
I discovered the truth about my family from an Instagram message.
That's the worst way to discover the truth about your family.
Absolutely. Edit, let me clarify my title in this post. My mom is still my mom. When I say she isn't my real mom, it means that she isn't my birth mother. Sorry if it comes off negative. That's definitely not what I wanted it to come across as. She did nothing wrong. All right, starting off, mom did nothing wrong.
Mom did nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong. Okay. Let's start with some background. I was never really clear on the details of my birth. All I knew was that I was born in Dominican Republic in a tiny clinic and lived there until I was 3, and me and my family came to America for the second time. By the way, this comes from Deleted, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. They were here before I was born, but went back because supposedly my dad had a job offer back in DR, and they went back for a couple years and came back to America when I was 3. My siblings are 11 years older than me. I remember always complaining as a child about how there were never any baby photos of me. Not one. Every photo I've seen, the youngest I have been was 3 or 4 years old. They always told me that it was because they got tired of taking photos after the first 2 kids, my brother and sister. So they barely took any of me, but the photos were somewhere in storage. We moved around a lot and hard to get a hold of. Eventually, I stopped asking. And I just accepted the fact that I've never seen myself as a baby. When I was 12, I got a message on Facebook from a girl claiming to be my cousin and that she wanted to talk to me, but not to tell my father because he didn't want us to talk. I was scared, so I ended up asking about it. He told me not to speak to her like she said he would, because she was disowned after she engaged in genetic copy pasting with a first cousin.
What?
Is that supposed to be like incest or something?
I think so.
Or the first cousin? And she's a bad influence.
Yikes. Yeah, that's not good.
Okay. He blocked her, and my 12-year-old self was more worried about other things, so I didn't question any further. Fast forward to now. I get messages from the same girl on Instagram. She wrote a whole essay in Spanish, which took me a while to understand fully because I don't usually read Spanish. She said that my father had an affair with a woman named Jackie when my brother and sister were around 9 or 10 years old. She got pregnant and decided to keep the baby, and so came out me. I have a sister named Gabriella and 2 younger brothers, each from a different dad. At this time, my dad, my mom, and brother and sister were in Dominican Republic as well.
Okay, so OP is an affair baby.
I guess so. That's what this Instagram woman is telling us. My dad paid for all of the expenses of my birth and was there when I was born. She proceeded to show me all of these baby photos of myself, with me with my siblings, with my grandmother, Jackie's mom, etc.
Wait, okay,
We have proof.
So OP was being, let me get this straight. OP was being taken care of by this family, by this bio mom.
I guess.
Until like 3?
I guess so. That is what OP said at the very beginning, was that like born in Dominican Republic, lived there until they were 3.
Yeah.
And then they moved to America. Whoa.
Interesting.
She said that she would always take care of me because I was the youngest, so she was my main caretaker when my mother wasn't around. She also told me that my mother passed away 6 years ago, and before she passed, she wanted to see me, and my dad said that he would take me to visit, but he never did. So she passed away without being able to see me once more. I started hyperventilating. I thought this was some sick joke, and somebody was effing with me. She told me to ask my cousin to confirm this, and that it's true. I drove over to his house, freaking out, and I asked him to please tell me I was going crazy, and she's just messing with my head. Fortunately, she was right. He told me they all knew.
No.
He thought I knew.
No. no.
He said my dad rescued me because my mother was poor and lived in a bad area with bad influences, so he wanted to give me a better life. He's really close to my dad, and he told me to find out why he hid it from me this long because it's effed up. This is effed up. He was smoking devil's lettuce. This will be more important later. So I went home and confronted my mom and dad. I calmly sat down and said, I found things out today. I know mom isn't my mom, and I know I have another family. I know you brought me here or rescued me or whatever when I was 3. I know she passed away 6 years ago and asked for me, but you didn't take me to go see her.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
That's tragic.
Yeah.
To not only find out that you've been kept from the knowledge of your mother and also from your mother, but also
Right.
to know that you've been kept from her when she asked for you before she passed away.
Right. I know. I'm trying to see how old
sad.
OP is right now, but we can't tell.
Yeah.
But, it seems that like 6 years ago, OP still would have been able to remember it, right?
Yeah.
This isn't like a 8-year-old that's that's saying this. They stayed quiet for what seemed like forever. My dad spoke up. He said, "So that's the story you heard." And I said, "Yes, but I need real answers. I need to know why you didn't tell me. I need to know the whole truth." So he gave it to me. To be honest, your mother didn't like you very much. What that girl said was true. She was the one who would take care of you when your mother wasn't present, which was all the time. She was a substance regular user. She basically abandoned you and left Gabby to take care of you while she would be out constantly doing substances, drinking, or whatever else she did. Lily was the one who babysat you the rest of the time, would take you to preschool and drop you back off at her house. I'm not sure exactly how Jackie passed away. I think she was eventually unalived because of the kind of life she led. Oh, wow. I only took you when you were 3 because that's when I finally gained custody of you after fighting for years before that.
Okay, so OP's father was trying to get her.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Oh, wow. She only called me to ask me for money. She only called about you once to say happy birthday, but it wasn't even your birthday that day. I was waiting until you turned 18 so I could tell you. Even though Lily isn't your biological mother, she's still your mom. She raised you and loves you like her own. I don't even know what else to say. I don't know what to gain from posting this. I'm just having a hard time wrapping my head around all of this. I want to see pictures of my real mom, Jackie. I want to know what my family is like over there, I think. I feel so effing out of place in my family, even though I grew up with them and I love them to death. I can't recognize myself in the mirror. Whoa, so this is whole crisis happening
Just everything
right now.
is kind of changing.
Yeah.
But I think OP, it's important for you to know, like, really, really not okay that your family all kept this from you for years. But, you do have people that love you,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's definitely better than I was expecting. Yeah. I was expecting the dad to just be like the bad guy, I guess, if
It's
call
like,
anyone the
like
bad guy.
He was trying to get you, and then,
Yeah.
this whole time.
And things with like substance using and everything is very hard to explain to a child.
Very hard,
And,
yeah.
and I feel like, if you're kind of telling your kid, like, no, you can't meet your biological mom or something like that, and they're like 9 years old, it's like, it might be a little, might be just very confusing on how to tell.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to wait till exactly 18. I think like some sort of
No.
teen years, like 13 or 14, you could.
Like,
they
definitely
could
made
probably
a
handle
mistake
it.
in not telling you, absolutely.
Right. So I have to go to work now, but I'm going to edit the post later tonight when I come back to add more things. Sorry I had to cut this short, but this is 90% of what's going on right now. So what do I do? How do I deal with this? I woke up today and I thought last night was a bad nightmare. There's an edit about the devil's lettuce. Things blew up. My dad smelled the devil's lettuce and questioned me about it, and I wasn't thinking, so I mentioned how the cousin I went to talk to in person was smoking some on his balcony. This cousin in question has smoked a lot in the past, and my parents hate it, and they've given him crap for it. 100% I effed up by not covering it up, so the cousin texted me this morning blowing up at me because I spilled the beans, saying a bunch of crap like, never confide in me again, don't ever call me or come to my house, your generation can't be trusted. He's as old as my siblings, and all of that stuff. I started freaking out and apologizing. I wasn't thinking. We talked about it and we agreed that I would lie to save his butt because it was the least I could do. So I'm gonna say that I was smoking it and I lied. He texted me saying that my dad talked to him and he wants to hold a meeting tonight. Actually, as I'm typing this right now, but the meeting hasn't started.
No.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
No, you're not gonna
Don't do that.
take the fall for
Yeah.
him.
Because what? Like, if
How old
it's
do we know how old the cousin is?
not exactly,
She said as old as her siblings.
which are 11 years older than OP.
Okay, I'm
So-
sorry. And what is like 28-year-old is trying
Yeah.
to make you take the fall.
Yeah.
He's an adult.
Come on.
He can deal with the consequences of people
Exactly.
getting mad at him for smoking.
Like, I feel like they would get more mad at the teenager smoking instead
absolutely.
of this adult.
no,
like-
don't take the fall for him. It's not the least you can do. He's manipulating you.
But we do have an update. So, it's been a long time since I posted this, like 3 months. Basically, I've been a mess since then, and I don't know how to process these feelings. It's been 3 months, and I haven't even fully registered the situation. I don't know. The devil's lettuce issue. I ended up telling my dad that I smelled like devil's lettuce because I was with friends, and they were smoking. He didn't even care or focus on that at all, and everyone got off my cousin's back. Yeah, I probably should have let him crash and burn, but I'm not like that. It was dumb, and he'd gotten more crap than I would, which is why I took the fall for it. They didn't
Seems
care.
like it worked out okay. But
I
I'm
guess
still
so.
upset at him.
So those who were worried about the devil's lettuce don't. My cousin also apologized for reaming me because I let that slip out because he realized that I was going through a hard time and it wasn't my fault for not thinking. So now the meeting. My sister, brother, and dad sat me down that night. No beating around the bush. We just went into it. They explained why they didn't tell me, and they told me a few things about my mom, like how she passed away. She got into a car with some bad people and they unlived her. This information still haunts me to this day for some reason. I
mean,
feel like
we
that's a
meet
pretty
for some
valid reason.
reason.
Yeah.
That's really, really hard.
They asked me how I felt. I said I was angry and I felt lied to and betrayed and that it wasn't fair. I could have met her before she passed away and I couldn't. I started crying and then I started laughing, like hysterically laughing because this is crap you see in movies. And I just couldn't believe it. They said the rest of the family, the older ones that knew, just forgot about it all. I became a part of the family so quickly and so young that they didn't look at me and think of me as that kid that was born to another woman. I was family. And that made me feel a little better, I guess.
Aw.
Contacting my sister and 2 cousins. They made a group chat and added me. They asked me 1,000,001 questions about my life, what I'm studying, do I have a boyfriend, etc. They showed me photos. My sister is Natalie and my 2 cousins are Julie and Sally. Sally, the older one, the one that reached out through Instagram, a few days afterwards asked to talk to me on the phone. I said, okay. I had already sent them voice messages and current photos so they could see what I looked like and sounded like. It was fun. They wouldn't stop talking and they were freaking out. It put me off a bit because I'm very, very shy. But anyways, I talked to her on the phone. It was my dad's phone. He was talking to her and she asked to put me on. I was really awkward though, so it was a short conversation and I didn't want to talk to her shortly after getting on the phone. So issue number 1. According to my dad, they're not very trustworthy and they cause a lot of drama. I didn't know what he meant until this happened.
Oh no.
Sally messaged me a long message basically questioning if it was really me who was sending her these photos and voice messages and if it was really me on the phone.
Girl.
Come on. She was saying how she suspected my dad of putting someone else on the phone and pretending like it was me. Her reasoning was that since I was so awkward and cold and not as excited as her sister and my sister, so my reaction was not the right one, and that made her doubt me and my dad.
Girl, she just found out that she has a sister.
Yeah,
Give her a
that's
minute.
yeah.
Give
Like
her a minute.
sometimes you don't know what to say to people that you've
Yeah.
never met before and are supposed to have this whole background. Sometimes you don't know what to say. Okay, this seriously pissed me off because who the F would do something like that? She thinks that my dad would go to these great lengths to play pretend. She didn't believe him. In short, I told her off and said that just because I'm not jumping with joy doesn't mean that it isn't really me and that she offended me and my dad by accusing us of something like that. Absolutely ridiculous. She apologized profusely. However, this led me to rethink things. I stopped talking to her after that and I haven't talked to her since. I don't know what to say to her, and I don't know how this affects our relationship, if you could even call it that. I haven't spoken to Natalie or Julie either because they were going along with what Sally was saying. Like, yeah, maybe this isn't her, blah, blah, blah. It makes me feel bad, but at the same time, I just can't bring myself to message them. I don't know these people.
Absolutely happens with my little cousins.
Yeah.
But like if it's been, because I have a couple cousins who are in, I won't say we're there, but
You sure?
they're farther away.
Yeah.
And so like every once in a while, like we'll visit them,
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh my god, hey!
Yeah.
And it takes like 30 minutes for them to warm up and remember who I am.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm like, hey, and they're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but then like an hour later, they're like,
Right,
oh,
right.
fly
You have to keep reminding them. So it's just this is such a crazy situation.
Yeah.
And this is a family that you haven't seen. Like, even if you're so excited about this, you're probably
you
older than this
can't-
person.
You can't put those feelings and emotions on that person.
Yeah, and like expect that they owe you that. Because
Exactly.
that's not how people
Everyone's
work
expecting
in
OP
general.
that like everyone's saying that OP owes them something.
I know. It's like,
What's up with that?
Let's just
Let's
let
let OP live.
Let OP live. But we have issue number 2,
Ooh,
the current one.
let's do it.
So a couple nights ago, I was talking to my dad. He told me that he needed my help with a decision because I'm an adult now and he thinks that I should know about what's going on. Roughly a month ago, Sally messaged my dad. She asked him for help financially. She went on about how she has 3 children and she constantly needs to go to the court to get child support from their fathers, and she has not been doing well financially or emotionally, and now her health is suffering for it. She showed him photos of her head. She has this huge patch of hair gone.
Ooh.
So her hair is falling out and she acquired a bacteria in her mouth. She lost 2 front teeth, and if she wants to begin working again, she needs to get her health and appearance in order. She hasn't been taking care of her teeth, she admitted, because of everything going on. So irresponsibly, she let her dental health get worse and worse. She never looked up how expensive it was, and now that she realizes she does not have the money to be spending on teeth, she's asking him for help to pay it for her treatment.
So there is also a possibility that she reached out for this.
Yeah. Oh gosh. This reminds me of the incident 3 months ago. The blatant mistrust and second guessing and thinking my dad would go to such extremes to put on a show. How my dad told me Jackie, Biomom, would only ask for money when she'd call him and didn't ask how I was doing, and how their family is extremely dramatic and causes trouble all the time. I wasn't inclined to help her.
Yeah.
I don't trust her. I don't know her. However, I feel really bad when I saw those photos of her. And yes, it's her. She's not lying about it. And how bad her dental health was. The good side of me is itching to help, but we have our own financial problem. I got into a car accident a few weeks ago, and we were also paying off a loan for school, and I'm not trusting of who is basically a complete stranger of me. My dad says we'll do whatever I want to do. And I haven't been sleeping well since then, and I don't know what to effing do. So do I help her or let her fend for herself? And that is the end of it.
Dang.
What do we think? Do we help her or no?
Oh, that's so difficult.
That's really difficult.
That's so difficult.
Maybe it can be a kind of thing of being like, hey, like, we have things to pay for too. Like, we don't have just like an excess of money to just give you. But like, you know, maybe we can pay for like little things here and there.
Sure, yeah.
Or like, I can only like do like $100 right now.
Yeah, I think that
Something like that.
maybe. And also saying like, hey, I want to make sure this directly goes to dental health payments, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
that's a good point.
I will send this money to the doctors, or like having it directly go there.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you can do a little bit, but you can limit yourself however much you
Yeah.
want to pay.
Yeah, it's like
Don't
definitely
go
have to pay
based off
all
of
it.
like, yeah, I wouldn't go based off of like a percentage of how much it costs. I would just go off of like how much money you have and how much money you're willing to give
Yes,
away on this.
Exactly. Like
And-
how much money will not hurt you financially.
Exactly. And if that happens to be like 2% of the payment, then that's what it is.
Yeah,
you
just
know?
say like, hey, I just unfortunately can't afford
Yeah,
help you out more than this.
exactly. Because it's not on you. It's not on you.
No,
So-
not at all.
But you know what is on you is checking out more episodes with more stories just like this one. You have to go to Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime. Find these episodes. That is on you. You
It's
do
on you.
actually have to do that, and you do owe us that. So
You do. Sorry.
I don't know what to tell you about that one, but yeah, that's the end of our story.
My sister is upset that I refused to fund her vacation after I already paid for her flight.
You think I'm gonna fund your fun for nothing?
I'm a migrant worker far away from my home country and family. I haven't seen my family in about 2 years and some change. It's been a very rough time as I live in a country where I'm very invisible, not from here. I really miss my family, and it's been hard making quality time to cultivate friendships and relationships. By the way, this comes from OKAD8798, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. On to the story. The beginning of this year, my older brother messaged me saying that he'd like to go to an island country on my side of the world that's quite popular. I say, of course, I'd be excited to go on holiday and see him. I felt it was odd that he only texted me, but I mentioned that we extended to the family. We did. This is where I messed up. I put in my immediate family chat the plans for the trip. The initial date was set in early April, but fell through. Should have taken that as a warning, honestly. But my company has another holiday period coming up where we don't work for the first week of May. I mentioned to the family, let's have the holiday then. Plus, it gives everybody more time to prepare. A bit of background, my occupation pays comfortably in the country I currently live, so each month I have a lot of excess after paying my rent and other utilities. My family lives back in my home country. From my knowledge of their lives before I left, their finances aren't the most abundant. I don't like talking about money with some of them because somehow I always wind up donating money. They've given me money to migrate, so I still feel guilty saying no, but I've given money, $4,000 US, to them all combined. My brother doesn't ask for anything, but my mother and sister, whole other situation. I don't know who to even go to talk about this with, simply because my family can be a bit messy sometimes. I'd rather not speak with them, but keeping this in is really tearing my head apart. My mother and sister have the worst financial problems I could have ever imagined. I mean, being banned from using buy now, pay later services. Remember this. That bad. I personally don't want to be in my 30s and in chronic debt with no money, so migrating was my best option. For this trip, there would have been myself, my brother, sister, and mother, for a total of 4 people. We're all adults, so I figured everyone had enough time to figure out their flights, accommodation, and other things. Wow, I couldn't have been more wrong. My brother was able to square away his travel and things, so was I. We've had our things booked for over a month now. And guess who didn't have anything planned or booked? Yup, my mother and sister. Because I received a bonus at work, I had more excess money. So I thought I'd give my family members spending money for the country we're going to. This spending money was meant to supplement, not fully support, given simply because I had it and wanted everyone to have some fun money too. Now, I tell my family this in the chat, and my sister chimes in and asks, how much is that in our home country currency? I tell her, and she basically was like, oh, okay. I thought it was weird, but I ignored it. About a week ago, 3 weeks before the trip commences, my older sister calls. She has a decade of life more than me. She puts on her sweet, I'm about to ask for a financial favor voice, and I know it's coming.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God. I hope you've been so good. I have to ask.
Light, small, really tiny, itty bitty favor.
Yeah, and I love you so much.
Yeah. I already guessed what she was going to say. Long story short, she asks if I can pay for her flight to the country. No, because it was so last minute, the flights were priced absolutely ridiculously. Over a month ago, she was taken aback because the flight prices to another continent were $2,500 or more, which was out of her budget. She couldn't afford it, so she asked if I knew where to find cheaper flights. Said no. All of the flights she wanted to book went to another popular city in the country we were going to, which was quite far from our planned holiday. Now, 2 weeks before the holiday happens, she's asking for me to just buy the ticket for her. Sending money to my home country is a headache. My God, it's always a headache to send money and get it in time because of fees, language barriers, etc. Anyways, I don't have money in my home country bank account, so I tell her all I have is my credit card, hoping this would deter her. At this point, I realize I'm stupid because hoping that using a credit card would deter her from asking is like setting food out on a counter unattended and hoping a dog won't take it. My fault.
Well, you train that dog won't take that food.
She says, okay. My credit card has been paid off since the last time I paid one of her bills, which I still haven't received repayment for, although she said she would. I try to keep my finances in order because I have goals for the future that involve having zero debt. I've been doing good and I'm on track to have zero debt by 29. Yay! Now, because my credit limit is only $1,500, this isn't enough to cover the cost of the flights. I hope this would deter her from pursuing the trip. It didn't. She suggests that I open a buy now, pay later service in my name and she would pay me back later. The lie detector is saying that's gonna be a lie. Pause really quick. Stop telling her it's because, the credit card isn't working or like there's all of these other reasons. Just say, hey, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, can't do that.
Can't do that. I don't have the funds to spend on you right now. Sorry.
Yeah. She goes, wait. What do you mean you don't have the funds to spend on me? What?
Yeah. Why can't you do the buy now, pay later? Nope. No. I don't want to spend debt on a trip that you can't afford. It's
don't
a
have the
that
money.
You can't afford. Maybe we'll do another trip when you can't afford one.
Don't have the money. Just like you.
Literally,
I don't have the money for you.
Easy. Don't have the money. Don't make other excuses because she's going to work her way around all of them. Just tell her straight up, don't have the money for you. Sorry.
Yeah, you're like a responsible financial person.
Yeah.
And you're like, maybe if I tell her, I'd have to put the whole thing on my credit card.
And she's like,
she'd
perfect.
say no. She's like, what do you mean? That's what those are for.
Yeah, she's like, that's what I do in all of mine.
Yeah.
I'm very in debt.
I throw $2,500 on my credit card as fast as possible.
Buy now, pay laters offer payment plans, layaway kind of thing, and different repayment plans. She chose the longest repayment plan, 2 years. The flight was about $1,900. Insanity. Here's where my dilemma is. I truly miss my family, and not having any family or affectionate close friends or a relationship has made me crave affection more. My family was my main source of comfort and affection outside of all the issues, so I really am eager to see my family. So what do? I wound up paying for the down payment, $669, from my credit card. Why? If you want to go see your family, fly to them. Why would you fly them out?
I bet you it's because wherever they are is like really cool and better. I'm guessing it's Japan. That's my guess.
She's like, thank you. I can't wait to see you. I really want to go on this trip, blah, blah, blah. I'm happy because I get to see my family, but at what cost? Remember the spending money I was gifting them? Yeah, my mom isn't coming, so I was going to keep her money. My brother is still coming, so he gets his money. However, since I already spent money on my sister, I don't want to give her the spending money. If I give her the spending money and pay for her flight, I'd be essentially financing her trip, which I'm not effing keen on doing. The country I live in does rental contracts a bit differently, where you pay every 3 months, usually, instead of every month. I'm renewing my lease, so I put back my rent money in the same account as the spending money. I figured since I spent money on her flight, I'd just keep her and my mother's spending money I was going to give for myself. Drama ensues when I said I'd give my brother his money, but no one else. The common sentiment is, why would I give only my brother the money I said I'd give, but not my sister? I explained my reasoning and was still met with backlash. Like, what the F? Am I a sibling or a sugar sister? Honestly, I feel that there is a level of entitlement that does not register in my mind. No one is entitled to my money, and I mean no effing one.
Yeah.
The problem, though, is that you're acting like they are, you know? Like, you gave in to your sister's request.
Well, there's always some level of pressure when you're like a family
Absolutely.
member making more money than the rest of your family to like send some to some degree, but it's like this isn't one of those occasions.
Like, this isn't, oh, I'm in desperate need, I don't have rent. You know, this isn't like she's in dire straits. This is, she wants to go on a vacation that she doesn't need to go on. And obviously you want to see her, but you know, you're setting this precedent that you'll pay for her whenever she wants to do something fun.
Yeah. Would she do the same for you? I don't know about that.
Whatever the heck you choose to spend your money on is between you, your bank account, and your credit score. My brother isn't the one to comment on the mess, so he's just nowhere to be seen. My sister is feeling some type of way because she won't have money while on holiday. That's not my problem. If you cannot afford to go on a trip, then you can't go on it. That simple.
The way the world works.
She can't cancel the flight because it's too late and I wouldn't get my money back. I don't know what to do, but I'm kind of like, you're older than me and you wanted to go on this holiday just as much as the next person. You couldn't figure out anything? By the way, you should be able to figure out that you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this if you go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search a Bookie Storytime. But there is a little bit left to the story. Do you have any final thoughts?
Don't waffle on like why or what your reasonings are when it comes to not paying for something. Just tell her, I told you to book this flight months ago. Now they cost a crazy amount. I'm not going to buy you this ticket. You should have bought your ticket months ago when everyone else did.
And, oh, I'm sorry you can't afford it? Then maybe, you know, I'll come visit you guys next time.
When she goes, oh, I'll pay you back. Well, you haven't paid me back for the last thing.
Yeah.
Are you going to pay me back for that and then this? How long is that going to take?
She's also the type of person that portrays a different lifestyle online than what she has in real life. Like influencers online, beg talk in person, that kind of thing. I have half a mind to pay off the buy now, pay later loan myself and then cut her off financially from borrowing money in the future. This would also be extended to my mother as she is also in dire straits financially. I'm going to keep my mother and sister's spending money for myself. I'll give my brother his money. Would I be the a-hole? No.
Well, I don't know. Your mom's catching a stray there.
The mom also was asking for money.
On the trip?
Yeah. Because OP was saying, basically what OP was saying was, if my mom and my sister get their tickets, then I'll give them some spending money. And so neither the mom or the sister can afford to go on the trip. So he's like, well, I'm not going to give you spending money for a trip that you're not going on.
Money and family, it's like, you can't be as casual as you can be with other stuff.
But that's the end of that story. So we're going to jump into the next one.
My mother is doubting my sister-in-law's pregnancy, and it's getting uncomfortable.
Stop making me uncomfortable, mama.
Make me comfy. Hi, Reddit. I'm in a bit of a bind with my family. My mother has always been a bit critical and controlling. She and I have never seen eye to eye, but my brother and her have had a wonderful relationship, especially as he's gotten older and wiser. However, A big snag to this came when he proposed to my now sister-in-law. By the way, this comes from Baby Throwaway Central, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, my mother felt like her family was included in a lot more in the festivities, and she felt incredibly slighted by this, I guess way more than her. After they got married, she made this no secret to them after it happened. My brother and sister-in-law were very taken aback by this. She had never indicated her disappointment until the moment when she unloaded it on them. My brother was very upset and they didn't talk for a while. Well, not long after, he told us that he and his wife were pregnant. We got a baby.
Yes.
Yes. So
we love babies.
we love babies.
Except John. John hates babies and thinks they're ugly.
I love babies so much. They are just, hey, listen, I was the reason why I can say this is because I was the ugliest baby.
Ugliest?
I was black and blue and not looking brand new, even though I literally was. I was a brand new baby coming out, but it was tough. So I knew this was coming as they wanted to start a family right away. While everyone was excited, my mom was very angry. That's not good. She started telling me behind my back that if it happened a little later, she wouldn't have been doubtful. But since it happened right after their marriage, she was conceived as a bachelorette party baby. Ergo, to break this down, what mom...
Cheating.
Yeah, mom is insinuating that, oh, she hooked up with someone at the bachelorette party because of this timeline, therefore she was cheating. But guys, she could have slept with her husband-to-be at any point during this time. So this is Sophia, what do you think? This seems like a huge, far-fetched reach by the mom.
So
yeah.
far.
Also, I don't think we've ever really heard the term bachelorette baby.
Yes.
That feels like a new one.
Which
I kind of like it.
We
I
have
don't like the
heard,
accusation, but I like it.
Yeah, we have heard of and seen the bachelorette and bachelor party cheating.
Oh, wait, Sophia, have we restarted the TLDR? Because I think it's still on the old one.
I don't know why.
Our TLDR bot friend is struggling. Chat, let us know if our TLDR bot friend gives you what you're looking for.
It is struggling currently.
And we will look into that. Let's give it a stop and a restart, right? Because it'll still at least get the
Yeah.
and I'll do a TLDR
Yeah.
in that. Yes. All right, quick TLDR on everything that's happened up until now. So, OP has a sister-in-law, right? And the mother-in-law is very doubtful. They fell in love. They got married. The mother-in-law is thinking that because they had a pregnancy announcement with the timeline of the wedding, she is now accusing her of basically having a bachelorette party affair baby, cheating at the bachelorette party and conceiving the baby then.
Bachelorette baby.
Bachelorette baby, which is a new one.
That's
for
a new
us.
one.
Which is a new one for us.
We love that term.
So we're gonna see if we think she's full of crap.
Okay.
But we're gonna see if there's any truth to this. All right. So I was a bridesmaid in the wedding, so I went to the bachelorette party. Okay. So maybe who knows. However, everyone knows I dislike clubbing. It's just not for me. So I went back to the hotel early to soak my feet and relax. I told my mom this when I came back. No other details since I had cut my foot at the bachelorette dinner, and she saw the cut a few days later when she was visiting me. So she used that tiny tidbit of info to infer that sister-in-law was screwing around while she knew I wasn't there. Now, in the past few weeks, my brother and sister-in-law have really been making an effort to repair the relationship. They've been getting better, but I'm sure it's very obvious that she's not very excited about her first grandchild, while everyone else in the family is. I think they might chalk it up to the fight they had and her still being mad about it. What's the fight? We need more details there. So they have no idea that my mom always tells me and my dad that she doesn't want to get excited for a grandchild that quote unquote isn't hers.
I mean, I think that sentence is makes sense,
Yeah.
but the context of it does not.
Dude, it is such a reach.
You're going off no information at all.
Zero information.
Zero
whatsoever.
information.
Yeah. I would be asking her where's your other proof? Other than there was an hour or two I wasn't there with her directly. You think that's really what's causing her that she actually cheated in that amount of time?
Yeah, I mean that's all the proof she has. I mean it's nuts to extrapolate that much. But
absolutely.
Maybe there's other information
Maybe
that we don't
there's
know.
something else.
Maybe there's someone else.
Well, every time they have an ultrasound, my brother takes videos of it. In one video, even the doctor says, given the size of the baby and development, it looks like it was conceived the week after the wedding.
Okay.
But, doctors paid off. He's in on it. You know what I mean?
exactly. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Doctors can be bought.
He was the one.
He's
the father.
He's the father.
And so he's fully incentivized
Yep.
to, make up all the lies. Wow.
Yeah, the doctor's a stripper on the side.
Oh,
you know?
God.
Got to pay for medical school.
He's
somehow.
a doctor and a doctor.
And a doctor.
Uh-oh.
Someone order the doctor.
Let me heal you, baby. The Bachelorette was 3 weeks before that, but my mom just twists it and says the doctor doesn't mean it and is just going off when sister-in-law claims, quote unquote, her last period was. I know my brother knows something is up, and my mom is constantly screaming about what a witch sister-in-law is and how can I support a niece or nephew that isn't mine. That is getting on my nerves. I told my mom to just tell my brother her concerns if it's that bad, but I know in the end she doesn't have the cojones.
Stones. She don't got those stones.
Right. She'll never hurt her firstborn son. We're Hispanic. It's always going to be sister-in-law's fault. Should I tell him that she's feeling this way? I'm worried it'll destroy them forever and that he'll never talk to my family again. And if my mom finds out, and I told him, she is going to freak. We have a mini update. We have comments. But before we dive into all of that, should OP say something? Should OP go to brother and sister-in-law and be like, hey, mama's over here freaking out, saying this kid is not yours, brother?
I mean, and what are we trying to prevent some kind of scenario from happening by saying this?
Yeah, so basically, and a little recap here too. So the brother and sister-in-law don't know that OP's mom is throwing all this shade, is trying to accuse the sister-in-law and cheating of all this stuff. It's a bunch of gossip. She's just been yapping in OP's ear about all of this. So I guess the implication is like she could make this child's life terrible. She doesn't believe it's her grandchild. That will obviously make the brother and sister-in-law's life terrible. So I guess it's kind of like, hey, a heads up, a storm is coming, and that storm is named Mom.
Yeah,
you know,
I feel like the mom is definitely out of turn saying
Yeah.
all this stuff. I think probably warning.
Here's a question:
A little warning.
Is this what do you think, Pigeon? Dude, so Sophia took some silly juice today. She's just being silly and she's just
silly.
enjoying her own
Enjoying the
silliness.
silliness.
Just drinking a gallon of silly juice today.
Okay, I'll fix it.
Like I almost feel like you might be saying like, is this not my circus, not my monkeys kind of thing, or
A little bit, basically saying, hey, tell her or I will. And you can kind of be bluffing, I think, at least at first, because right now what is happening is the mom is putting it on OP.
yeah, and it's like,
and
I don't want to hear this.
Yeah, like I don't want to hear this. I don't want to deal with this. This is not my circus. So you need to tell them, and that kind of effectively gets it off of OP's back and hopefully will kind of force her hand. Maybe you bluff at first.
If she doesn't tell though, what do you do?
Maybe at that point you do say something because, hey, you know what? This is gray area, but this is your niece or nephew. This is your brother and sister-in-law. It kind of is and they seem to have a good relationship. This is kind of it's not 100% your circus, but it's kind of like 85% your circus.
I mean, if Sophia was having a kid and there was all this craziness being said behind her back, I probably would tell her.
Yeah, because I think what's going to happen is there'll be a crash out. That
Yeah,
happens
so I think
that Sophia is hurt by.
I'm gonna
think
crash out.
I think you do say something. Yeah, and Bobby says it's your circus. You're literally one of the monkeys. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, ah, ah.
Ooh, ah, ah.
But we have a mini update followed by some comments. Mini update. My mom just called me and brought this topic up again. I got really fed up and told her I would tell my brother. So OP is now at the place we just talked about there. She straight up laughed and said, are you going to tell him it's your fault too? Apparently, because I told her
How is it her fault?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this? Here we go. This is why it's OP's fault. Apparently, because I told her I left the club early and didn't want what sister-in-law or anyone else was up to, I planted the seed in her head, right? She's like, oh, I don't want to stay out. I don't want to do the clubs. And so sister-in-law is like, ooh, now I got a free 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I can, find a
Yeah,
man.
because
get
everyone
pregnant
knows
immediately.
you have to police that person 24/7 to make
Exactly.
sure they don't cheat.
Yeah, of
Well,
course.
it's your fault they do.
Yep. So I have to live with the fact that I told her that sister-in-law was screwing around. I said nothing of the sort, and now I am really lost. So are we. This is insane logic, OP. Don't worry, you're not crazy.
Yeah.
Someone else's
Ugh.
mother-in-law or mom. Well, we got some relevant comments too weighing in. Commenter number 1 says, This seems like a very extreme reaction for your mother to have had both the wedding issue and the much bigger now baby issue. You describe her as quote unquote a bit critical and controlling. Is what is happening right now consistent with her past issues, or are these extraordinary? Basically, is this like new? You know what I mean? Is this new behavior?
Were there red flags before?
Were there red flags before? I do think you should alert your brother. Your mother is saying really hurtful and harmful things, and she is bound to say something directly to him or your sister-in-law at some point. And if it were me, I wouldn't want to face that shock in the moment, i.e. when the baby's born. Like, what if she's literally in the hospital room and just starts freaking out? That's not the child. Don't sign that to my son.
Blah, blah, blah. I mean, it is feeling like unstable behavior. So,
and that she's like building up to something big, but she's like it's like leaking out of her, you know. It'd be best for him to address this with her head on. OP responds to that. This is extraordinary even for her. So this is, maybe she has like kind of similar behavior, but it's like off the charts.
Yeah.
Although she vehemently denies this, I think she's angry that sister-in-law's family is very close with my brother. She keeps talking about how his new family is excited, but they have no idea of the truth of their witch daughter. It's that bad. I think she feels that he was stolen in a way, but she'd never tell him that. She always says, I always prayed for him to find a wife that makes him happy. Why would I be angry at that? Except that I would. So we have an update.
I mean, I think it seems like OP should tell.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we're all in 100% agreement here. OP should tell, but question, what do we predict is going to happen after this is told?
I mean, I think she's gonna freak.
I think she's going to freak too. I think she's going to freak so bad, it's going to end up in at least a, iPhone lock, a timeout scenario, or potentially low, maybe even depending on what they choose.
I feel like the comments
no
alone
contact.
are worth a timeout scenario. You know?
Yes, like she needs
even
time to chill.
Without the crash out.
Yeah, and two, I think it could help because she's like, oh, my precious little boy. She's corrupting him. If the precious baby boy, OP's brother, is like, hey, mom, you're completely wrong, and I'm putting some distance on you.
Maybe that will finally make it snap.
Exactly. That maybe that'll make it click for her. We can hope and pray, but we can also know what's happening today.
Ooh.
Because we have the update.
Wow. What?
That was a close up. I mean, we are really Sophia's just
drinking the silly
ordered
juice.
She just delivered another gallon of silly juice and is just being a little silly goose over there. All right, let's get into this update. So, hi everyone. This has been a doozy. I resolved to tell my brother this info after Christmas. I'm a coward, I know, but I just didn't want to stress him out any further this holiday season. I understand that.
Yeah. I mean, when's the right time to tell your brother that there's absolute craziness going on?
Right time. It's hard to say, but right time, right place is important too.
Yeah.
Christmas Day is not it.
Yeah. Christmas, but maybe like, I don't know. Again, early and often.
Jan 2nd.
Yeah.
January 2nd. I visited him for Christmas and we went to a brunch buffet with sister-in-law. That sounds fire. While he and I were getting some food at the tables, he asked a weirdly specific question. He said, why does mom keep asking me what the conception was?
All right, that's a direct question that needs a direct answer.
This is the time.
This is the time.
This is our moment, ladies and
This is the
gentlemen.
time.
Now, I knew she had asked sister-in-law and brother about this once or twice in the beginning, but I had no idea she kept doing it. He said that every time they're on the phone, she asks a question about it, and not just about dates, but about other personal things like sister-in-law's ovulation cycles, her having spicy sleep with my brother, her periods, all kinds of weird personal stuff. Dude, can you imagine, Sophia, your mother-in-law is saying like, hey, can you give me a chart of your ovulation cycles?
No.
That is
Big
crazy.
ick.
And like, you're the mother-in-law. Wouldn't you recognize how insanely it's already insane if a father-in-law says that, having, not being a woman and all, but like where's the empathy?
Yeah. I mean, you've been through that, but we got more.
So I asked my brother what he thought the reason was. And of course, he hit the nail on the head. Turns out he's known since they first announced the pregnancy.
Using the Socratic method for him to come to his own conclusions.
Indeed.
Hope he never revealed anything.
Yes. You knew all along.
Yeah, it was within you.
The answers were inside. He just wanted to run it by me and see if his suspicions were way off base or irrational. I told him the full story of how she has quote unquote reasonable doubt that it's his and how she's convinced that sister-in-law got pregnant at the bachelorette party, not by him. And I also told him her plot to tell him, if he ever said it first, that her doubts were placed there by me.
Oh, wow.
So thank God it didn't get there, you know, and she definitely
Yeah,
did,
because she would have tried to poison the well.
Exactly. And OP and their brother couldn't have like confided and
Yeah,
been
but
a united
I feel like
unit.
the brother would have known
That's
that
true.
was a lie.
That's true. He said even if she mentioned me, he would have never believed it because I have been nothing but supportive of them in their marriage. Dude, when Sam predicts something, he predicts something, right?
Why so close? That's crazy.
Why so close? He said that he knew that's what it was deep down. He was just hoping it somehow wasn't the case, that his own mother was basically calling his wife a witch. I mean, she was literally doing that.
Yeah.
But the last straw was the fact that my mom started asking sister-in-law's mom strange questions as well. I guess a few days ago, I had no idea my mom even went this far. Sister-in-law's mom called my mom to ask about a restaurant she liked and what she recommended. Then, apparently, my mom told her, "Do you think sister-in-law and brother conceived before the wedding? Their due
Again?
date is weird."
Again.
Dude, she's asking her mom. She's like
Dude,
telling
she's
her
so
mom now you're
fixated on this.
Dude, it's so. I mean, we're getting into
so
like
whack.
questionable mental health territory
Yeah, bro. She
potentially.
can't
here.
let go.
Yeah, this is like obsessive.
Yeah,
Obsessive.
Yeah.
Sister-in-law's mom said that the doctors have said multiple times that the conception date was a few days after the wedding, according to how the baby is growing, etc. Basically, the honeymoon.
Yep.
Whoa! Oh, you know what? There was
Surprise.
32 minutes that husband took a bath. Okay, and you know what you can do with 32 minutes?
You could cheat
Get the bellboy. Get the pool
32
boy.
times.
Now you got a pool boy baby. Yeah, 32 times.
32 times.
It's that frequency has been done.
Yep, it has.
There are videos about it.
Yes, there are.
24 hours.
24 hours. Oh, wow, what a video. I haven't seen it, by the way.
Neither
but,
have I.
But I know it exists.
Yup.
And that is frightening.
Shout out to that person. I don't know who you are. Basically, the baby was conceived during the honeymoon, which is exactly what brother and sister-in-law thought it was. Very reasonable. Not a secret. Sister-in-law's mom is not. She knew exactly what my mom was trying to ask. So she told my brother right away about how uncomfortable it was, and she didn't know what to say because no matter what, my mom will skew with some kind of confirmation that it is not my brother's baby. Brother is quite obviously livid. He is so tired of my mom making these passive-aggressive accusations under the guise of curiosity. Hey, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
You
I'm
know,
just curious why your wife is always hooking up with other people.
why is your wife trying to get plowed by all the pool boys
Yeah.
and having all their babies? I'm just
curious. Hey, don't get mad at the person who's asking questions.
Yeah, you know.
Do you get mad at Galileo for saying, hey, is the sun going around the earth or is the earth going around the sun?
Historically,
They
got pretty
did get mad at
him.
Galileo. They got pretty mad,
They
actually.
Did lock him in his house.
True facts from Sophia Donner. But he just decided to cut her off quietly. I know some might find this weak or letting her get away with it, but the problem is my mom feeds off of the conflict and anger of the situation. If my brother calls her and basically tells her to shut the F up, she'll find this as fuel to try to shut him down and scream that he's disrespectful and that American kids are disrespectful to their elders. We were born in California, but she was born in a Latin American country, and she'll have this fuel to paint him in an even more negative light to the rest of the family. So yeah, I don't think about this often, but it's almost saving the other family and other people like OP, for instance, from catching these strays and getting pulled into the drama by not giving the fuel. I've never really thought about it that way. Interesting way to process it. Sister-in-law and brother agree that letting her simmer without even acknowledging her is the best way to go. By the way, you know what the best way to go is, Sam?
What, John?
It's to go to Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or your favorite podcast app and just
obliterate some episodes.
Just obliterate your keyboard, typing in OK story time and getting 2,000 episodes with episodes full of stories just like this to just binge to your heart's content.
Have us in your ear holes for
Yes.
50 straight days of original content.
And then attempt to convince me you've listened to all of them. I will be skeptical, but
we
do your
will
homework.
quiz you.
But we will, if you have good facts, we will, potentially give it to you. But we have still a little chunk left in the story, Sam. How are we feeling right now with the
I mean, I
no
feel,
contact?
yeah. I mean, I feel at least no contact for a period of
For
time.
a bit, yeah.
Yeah, because this is it seems like this person's being pretty destructive.
And the insight, like, of, hey, every time mom is just trying to like contact all these people, stoke the flames. If we like stop responding basically to the
Does it
her
give
stoking
less
the flames,
fuel?
does it kind of like
I
die
think
out?
It
and
does.
Yeah,
I think it does.
Yeah,
So
good.
you can't fixate on something that doesn't have like as much new information, or at least it's harder to do.
100%. But let's find out how this story ends. So, I too have decided to limit my contact with her. I think smart. I've always known she is a horrible, toxic person, but no one saw her taking her negativity quite this far. It makes me fearful for my significant other, how she would treat him, especially since he's not Latino. F that. I think we will all be happier in the long run without having to walk on eggshells around her. I'm just excited for the birth of my future niece or nephew. I can't wait to spoil him/her. Edit. In terms of cutting my parents off, I am not worried about losing anything. I am completely financially independent, so nothing can be held over my head. They've done this before. Hopefully, distancing myself will not be too hard.
All right. Well, I mean, at least it seems like you can create a clean break for the sake of your own mental peace.
Yes. Which is good. And again, great call out by OP. Help diffuse the situation by everyone not giving her something fuel to stoke the fire, stoke the flames with. And maybe this dies down. Maybe she has some time to reflect and change her mind. Maybe not, but at least it doesn't get everyone sucked into the drama and take over your lives.
Yeah,
as much.
agreed. But
I had an affair with my brother's girlfriend. It tore my family apart.
You're the cheater. No, you're the cheatee. No, you're the worst person.
When I was in my mid-20s, my younger brother, Ezra, 19, went away to an out-of-state school. I had just finished my own stay at my university, so I went back home to find an apartment close to my family. Ezra's girlfriend, Melanie, 19, also stayed behind to study at a local college. She and I would hang out once in a while. I didn't realize at first that I was playing with fire by doing this.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You 100% did.
By the way, this comes from husband, father, brother. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So,
Hafabrathor.
Melanie and I got closer. We would go to the movies, grab a bite, and hang out at family dinners. Ezra couldn't be there, but my dad would extend invites to Melanie, who Ezra dated all throughout high school. They planned to be married after school, so she was family. My dad also remarried, so we were trying to build new bonds with his new wife and her kids, one of whom was close in age to Melanie. I guess things began to get messy when my dad's new wife started to comment that I looked better with Melanie.
You know what you do? You shut that down.
I had a stable job and was ready to start my life and settle down. Melanie was offended at first, but as we grew closer, she began to make similar comments. What?
You shut this down.
What? I'm sorry.
Why are we not shutting this down? Why are we? Yeah.
She began to make similar comments about she looked better with you than her boyfriend. Ezra would come down for the summer or some weekends where they would still sleep together and function like a couple because they are a couple. Because they're dating each other.
Ridiculous.
It's not like a couple.
Oh, man.
There's no similes here. When he would leave, she would be with me. You suck.
Yeah.
Things got physical one night after I reacted jealously at her and Ezra snuggling up, her snuggling up with her boyfriend. It was the turning point that I'd been waiting on. I know now that I was wrong, and I'm not proud of any of this. My dad and his wife were at odds over our relationship. My dad was actually furious with me and demanded we stop. Good on your dad. Unless he doesn't tell your brother. Melanie was disinvited from family dinners. Smart. And my dad reached out to my mom to inform her about us. My dad's wife had an opposite opinion. I have another sibling, 6 in total, all brothers, Aaron, who suspected something was off. Things came to a head when Aaron took Ezra aside during a visit to let him know what he learned from who knows where. Aaron has always had it out for me, or so I believe. Another story for another day. Get over yourself, OP. I'm sorry. Aaron has it out for you? So he told Ezra that you are cheating with his girlfriend? Get over yourself.
Yeah, dude. What are you doing?
But what happened after set my whole life in motion in the direction it's been for the last decade. It's been just over 10 years since Ezra discovered what we had done and set the whole family on fire.
Whoa. 10 years?
10 years.
What?
Wow. He had a go at our parents and my dad's wife for her involvement and their silence, and then he just left. Yeah, I'd be pretty pissed if my parents didn't tell me that my sibling was cheating with my partner.
Oh, that sounds like a personal problem.
It sounds like you need to get over it.
Sounds like a skill issue.
It took a while, maybe a few months, 8, but he left, and I have yet to ever see him again. Yeah, because you betrayed him. Those 8 months, I was not a kind person.
I was just cheating.
After Melanie was embarrassed and mistreated by Ezra for cheating, I immediately took her in. Wow, that's so unexpected of you. You took in the person that you were
This
cheating
is bait.
with?
This
Yeah.
has to be bait. This is crazy.
And we became official. Did we find this on Am I the Devil? Our family disapproved for a while, but eventually they came around.
Whoa.
She fell pregnant and I proposed. Her parents and my parents learned of this and agreed that it was best for the baby that we marry, so they paid for everything. It was a humble wedding, but my family pulled through for me and showed up. During this time, Aaron continued to lecture my parents about their involvement with our relationship and abandonment of Ezra. I understood that he was in pain and needed them. I did too. I was becoming a new father and husband.
What is this
With
story?
his
What is
girlfriend.
this story? What is this story?
I was looking into buying my first
It's a
home,
horror
starting
film.
my first big job, and planning a wedding. I didn't expect Ezra to suck it up, but they are my parents too. My parents were preoccupied with us, so much so that Ezra moved a few towns over, and we didn't notice until a month or so. We used to see him around town where he worked, but we noticed we stopped seeing him. I reached out only to find his number was changed. Aaron was no help, just criticisms and warnings about Ezra's well-being. No kind words for me, Melanie, or our child, though.
What
I
do you-
lost 2 brothers in actuality.
What do you expect? Congrats on taking my girlfriend and having a baby with her? Dude.
Eventually, our wedding grew closer, and the invitations were sent out. No response from Ezra and Aaron,
This is bait.
which I expected. So I asked my mom to verify with them. I understood if the answer was no. If what we found was they were completely gone. Aaron had a longtime girlfriend who RSVP'd no to our wedding and clammed up about where my brothers went off to. Yeah, I'm sure your brother Ezra doesn't want you to find out if he has a new partner, given what you did with the last one.
No, I mean, she wouldn't do it again.
One aunt, the one who would often echo Aaron's comments and skipped out on my wedding, let us know that they were safe and that we needed to move on. So that was that. Sad to say, I haven't seen them in 10 years. My parents were obviously distraught and regretful. It put a huge damper on our wedding and the birth of my child. We thought about combining their names as a middle name for my son, but ultimately decided no. They would likely never meet my kids, so no need to confuse them. However, watching my parents break down whenever family would get together took its toll. Anyone who knew where they were did not say. It remains a gray cloud over our lives to this day. I thought we had moved on by the time Mel and I had another kid. My parents seemed happy to be with me and my remaining brothers, and they saw that Mel and I were serious about our relationship, an ideal match.
Now they saw it was serious.
Soon enough, though, my mom decided to voice her regrets to me and Melanie personally. When she found out about our relationship, she was staunchly against us, but came around when Mel fell pregnant.
This is
Came
bait.
around?
This is bait. This is not real.
Now she believes that she made a mistake where she lost 2 sons. Her relationship with Mel has suffered greatly. My dad's family is much more welcoming to Mel. She's one of their own. My dad does miss his sons, but also loves his grandkids. He was content with this for a long time until my mom went ahead and located Aaron and Ezra. It hurt to feel that she would prefer to have held on to them and lose me and my sons in the process. She found that they were both married. Aaron to his longtime girlfriend, who eventually moved away years ago, and Ezra to an unknown woman. Both have a good amount of children, more than I have, in fact. My mother got some therapy and reached out to my brothers and has made contact with Ezra. Aaron declined to reconcile. So she's been in contact with him for a year, even going as far as taking my youngest brothers with her to spend Christmas with Ezra and his family. I've seen pictures of his sons and daughters and his wife too. I thought to keep a lot of this from my dad, but I come from a gossipy family, so I did show him what I found on my mom's Facebook before they could. My dad was overcome again, as if the wound was freshly exposed. He felt he missed a lot and couldn't bear it. He looked at the images for a long time and eventually called my mom, and they spoke for hours. By the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this for hours. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search a Pokey Storytime. So I sit here with fractured relationships everywhere that you caused. Good job. My mom does not approve of me and my family. Mel and my mom do not speak. My dad is heartbroken. Ezra and Aaron took off and built a life with their own families. From pictures, it seems they are still close, and though Aaron does not speak to our mother, his wife and kids do. The rest of my siblings are young men just coming into their own. I love them so much, but I can't relate to them like I relate to my brothers who are closer in age. It's been years since I've had to deal with what my actions have caused. At least you know they're caused by your actions. My wife is beginning to get insecure about my feelings towards her. She wonders if I regret her and the kids. I want to fix this. I failed to fix it before, but I need to now. I don't know how to repair it though. How can I make amends for a marriage and life I don't regret?
Ed, we have comments. We have comments.
Let's get into
We have
these
comments.
And it's literally Mr. Frog from Smiling Friends. He goes, hello, but I'm not sorry.
Comment
How-
one.
How do I apologize for this thing I'm not sorry for?
It took you 10 years to realize you may have effed up? And you still sound entitled? How do you even manage that? The whole story is about you. You're hurt. And now Ezra's the bad guy because he wasn't there. I say, why would he be there for a snake like you? You were the one to implode your family. Not only you betrayed him as a brother, but also your darling wife with who you cheated on him with. Why would he want anything to do with you? You both betrayed him in so many ways that it really effed him up. I'm glad for him he had Aaron to look after him. And then when he moved out, you didn't even notice. You didn't care. You don't even care now. You don't want to reconcile for his well-being or your parents' well-being. No. You want to reconcile so nobody bothers you about what happened and you and your wife can live with no burden on your conscience. I could go on and on about how trash you are, but really, it's a waste of time. Good for your brothers to cut out as toxic person as you are from their lives. Leave them alone. You will continue to live with the consequences of your actions even if you do contact them. Comment 2. Did you ever apologize for betraying him in the worst way a brother can? Personally, you come across as unapologetic. OP says, a lot of people seem to think I'm not sorry or that I'm playing the victim. I swear I
Not
don't
sorry.
mean to.
Not sorry. No regrets. Not sorry.
I swear I didn't mean to. I will bring this post to my therapist so she can show me what I can't see. You need to get a new therapist if you haven't already gone over this.
Therapist you've been lying to.
I tried to apologize so many times before he left. I admit that I was a butt during that time as well, so maybe the way I tried to make amends didn't work because of that.
I'm sorry I took your girl and now I have kids with her. I'm so sorry.
I'm not going to break up with her.
Sorry.
Comment
She liked
3.
me more.
A lot of emotionally charged responses here. Going to try a less angry reply. Unfortunately, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Though you may have failed to think the decision through at the time, you made a decision to have a relationship with your now wife and give up your relationship with your brother. Realistically, I don't see how you could have expected a different outcome.
He thought everyone was going to, yes, we're one big happy family. Kumbaya. This is great.
Betraying your brother also had the consequences of making your family members choose sides, a near impossible task in your conflict. Again, you decided tearing your family apart was worth it if you could be with your brother's girlfriend, now your wife. Looking back, you seem to be realizing the actual choices you made. I would regret the casualties of my family relationships as well. If you want to write your brother some letters, by all means, go ahead. I think your best bet is to move on and try to be the best you can be. Best dad, best husband, best son. You can't unmake the past, but you can make your future. I feel for you, dude, even if you were a gigantic a-hole 10 years ago. If I could think of some advice to help you put your family back together, I'd give it to you. I just don't think it's possible.
Yeah.
But that is the end of that story. I can't get along with my sister-in-law. She always starts drama with me.
Ugh, she's so dramatic.
Background, I, 27 female, have been with my husband, 27 male, since we were 16. Whew. We grew up in a small town and have had a pretty happy and loving relationship throughout. His parents and I have always got along great, as well as his brother, 32 male. By the way, this comes from Temporary Pumpkin 5485. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, his brother moved away from our small town around 5 years ago to a larger city states away. But we have visited at least once a year since then. His brother is pretty introverted and hasn't been in a serious relationship since high school. However, he met a girl, Tiffany, 30 female, who he started dating around a year and a half ago. They started dating a couple months before my husband and I got married, but we invited Tiffany to the wedding as my brother-in-law was the best man. This was where both my husband and I met Tiffany for the first time. Everything seemed to be going great, and we were so happy for my brother-in-law to have met someone he really liked. A few months after the wedding, my husband and I decided to move to the same city as my brother-in-law for a year, so that my husband and him could have quality time together before we settled down in our home city and started a family, which has always been our life plan. At the same time, Tiffany moved in with my brother-in-law. At this point, they had been dating for about 9 to 10 months. We spent the first 4 months getting together with Tiffany, my brother-in-law, and our other close friends via game nights, hiking, dinners, playing sports, etc. 6 months into the stay, brother-in-law came to my husband and said that Tiffany didn't appreciate the way that I was treating her and said that I was rude and disrespectful to her specifically. This came as an utter shock to me, as I had no idea of how I had come across as this way. For background, I have always been a people pleaser and usually try to get along with everyone. I'm also generally self-aware and can tell if what I say is in any way off-putting. Brother-in-law gave examples which includes the following. I'll try to phrase them as unbiased as I can, but it's difficult. I'll add my response to these below. At a championship sport game where brother-in-law, husband, and I were playing, we lost and Tiffany was sitting in my lawn chair. After losing the match, I snapped at her for sitting in my chair. Well, that is kind of rude. Did you
Okay.
apologize for that?
Yeah, that seems kind of weird.
Yeah, I'd be like, Jesus, sorry.
The
Didn't
fact
know
that
you were the chair police.
Yeah, the fact that she knew that she snapped at her sitting in
Yeah.
a chair that
yeah.
you weren't using because you were in the game.
I feel mind-boggled by this example because while I did get angry after losing, I went next to my chair to get my water bottle and then stomped away, again because I was mad we lost. But I never said a word to Tiffany, nor did I have any interaction with her during this. Husband was standing right next to my chair and attested to this. Okay, so to be clear, OP did not snap at her. Tiffany's lying.
Okay.
Tiffany tried to approach me at my wedding and I completely ignored her and walked away. I also didn't reach out to her the week she was there to try and welcome her, says Tiffany. Tiffany also says, I talked to her at our rehearsal dinner the night before, but I can't even remember who all I talked to at my wedding. Wedding was size of 150 guests. I'm not the type of person to ignore or walk away from someone talking to me, so I find it very hard to believe I did this. I did not reach out to her earlier that week because I was extremely busy trying to plan for the wedding day. Purposely broke her kitchen scissors and tried to hide them. She says, another friend of ours and I were helping Tiffany and brother-in-law unpack their belongings after they had moved in. I was using scissors to try and open a box and the pin popped out. Friend and Tiffany saw this and I said, oh no, and friend took them from me and put the pin back in and placed them back on kitchen counter. Tiffany lied about being sick to avoid going, says that I lied about being sick to avoid going on a hike. Tiffany overheard me talking to friend about how I didn't want to do a hike the day before that Tiffany and brother-in-law asked us to go on, and I told them I was sick. OP responds and says, this one is true. I did say to friend I didn't want to go on the hike, but I didn't want to go because I was sick. Husband attested to this as I was throwing up all day and we had to cancel the hike. OP's like, did you want me to throw up on you? After hearing all these accusations from my husband, after hearing it from brother-in-law, I sent a text to Tiffany apologizing for any rude instances and told her these were never my intentions and tried to explain some of these encounters from my point of view. She told me that I was a poor sport, which I am, and agreed with her on, and told her I would try to be better about getting mad after I lose, and that I needed to be more purposeful about my relationship with her. I apologized again and tried to ask if we could talk in person. She said she wasn't ready for that, but would think about it.
Okay, so she wants to complain about you, but
yeah,
not
she doesn't
talk
want to
to
fix
you.
anything.
Mm.
Thinking that this was behind us, we then entered into Thanksgiving. Brother-in-law and Tiffany showed up to friend's house, and husband and I were helping cook. I said hello to them and returned to cooking. For the meal, I sat near the end of the table and tried not to say anything, but just nod my head with the conversation. Brother-in-law and Tiffany started whispering in each other's ears at the end of the table and decided to leave shortly after dinner. I then received a message from my brother-in-law saying that I was talking in codes and giving secret glances to friends and husband at dinner. You were doing that! You were the one whispering!
Whisper, whisper, whisper. Whispers, whispers.
He told me that I was rude and that he didn't appreciate the way I was treating Tiffany and making her feel. I broke down crying and asked my husband and friends what I did wrong. My husband was furious and called my brother-in-law and started fighting with him about the message he sent to me. My brother-in-law told husband that he was considering not talking to either one of us any longer. I tried to message Tiffany to ask her to talk to me in person, and she returned my message by calling me the most rude person she had ever met, and she had no intentions of ever talking to me or being in the same room as me again.
This is annoying. So she can't own up to it. She can't have a conversation.
This girl
We can't be adults.
stinks. I told her I didn't understand, and she told me that it wasn't worth talking to me if I couldn't even begin to understand what I was doing wrong. After discussing with husband what the best relationship mender would be, we decided on family therapy. Tiffany did not attend. Brother-in-law attacked my character and said that I was selfish and rude and singling out Tiffany. I explained that I couldn't understand what I was doing to make them feel this way and needed to talk things out in person. Brother-in-law said Tiffany wasn't ready for it and that she needed time. But you have all the time in the world to listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any thoughts?
So we're not getting two sides of the story here. We're just Tiffany is the one we always believe, huh?
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah, it's
What?
just Tiffany show.
And every time OP tries to get one sent in, it's just, I'm not going to hear it. No, you're rude.
OP's like, oh,
What's
I'm
going
so
on?
sorry. I didn't realize I hurt you. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
OP's doing the right thing, too,
Yeah.
trying to actually have a genuine conversation and trying to figure out what's going on. What did I do wrong? Why do you not like me?
Literally.
Why are you making lies up? It just seems like
Frustrating.
It's frustrating. I feel like someone said she's projecting. I feel like she's jealous.
I think
of
so.
OP.
Well, OP's married.
Yeah.
And she's not. She's just the girlfriend.
Yeah, she wants to be. Maybe she's like a pick me child.
Yeah.
and she just
Pick
wants
me,
to
child. Pick me, mother, please.
be. Yeah, and she just wants to be the center of attention. So if you can't have a conversation with this brick wall,
Yeah.
just walk away.
Yeah. Now I'm just picturing like a little Dickensian orphan being like, pick me,
Please, may I have some more?
please pick me to be your child.
More?
I'm so much better than all the other orphans.
Yes.
But there is a little bit left. Months go by, and brother-in-law asks me to reach out to Tiffany to apologize. I do. I tell Tiffany that we seem to have different perceptions and that I would really like to reach common ground and understand her point of view better. She replied that she would only meet with me if I offer her a sincere apology. I told her I would. She then agreed to meet me. A couple hours later, she texted me back and said she didn't see a point in meeting after all. I decided this was enough, and she is committed to our misunderstanding of one another. We are now moving back to our home city, having not repaired our relationship. I'm not sure what I can do and if I'm missing something about myself. Does anyone have any insight or advice they can lend to this situation? I don't want to cause any trouble for my husband and his relationship with his brother, but it seems we are all on not speaking terms anymore. And comments. Comment 1 says your husband was present during some of these instances and even refutes the point of view of his brother's girlfriend. Opie's husband sees that and his brother can't understand that and won't. If this is his first real relationship in years, then you know he's being manipulated by the girlfriend. She's achieving her objective by putting a wedge between the brothers by attacking the OP. If anything, it seems that Tiffany feels threatened by the OP for some reason. Tiffany believes that maybe she should be the center of attention, even though she hasn't married into the family. If the brother-in-law is willing to cut off the family, especially his brother, then that tells you how toxic Tiffany really is. Tiffany also makes half-hearted attempts to meet OP to discuss everything, and then cancels at the last minute. She's going to ruin the brother-in-law's relationship with his own family, and until the brother-in-law snaps out of it, there's nothing the OP or her husband can do, because it looks like Tiffany has the brother-in-law wrapped around her finger. For now, I think the only one that you need by your side is your husband in the scheme of things. He was present and has defended you like a loyal husband has. I hope your in-laws don't fall for Tiffany's lies and manipulation. Godspeed. Comment 2, what the F? Stop apologizing. It's really concerning that it is blindingly obvious that you're being bullied by people who are making crap up, and you're actively lying on the floor to make yourself into a doormat for them. Why are you doing this? And that is the end of that story. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment about Opie's husband.
Yeah.
W husband.
W.
Supporting
husband.
OP. But I think the best thing you can do, and maybe call out the brother or brother-in-law in this case, is, hey, why don't we all just sit down?
Yeah. Like,
How
why don't
about
we get
all
together?
4 of us sit down and we actually have a...
But the problem is that I think OP
Tiffany
has
does-
said that, and the brother-in-law is like, she's not ready for that.
She-
Tiffany's not ready for that.
But she can make accusations and make
Yeah,
lies, and
it's
she's ready
like,
for those?
okay.
Great.
Like, that's not true, girl. That's not true.
Yeah.
Lordy,
Blood
lordy,
is
lordy.
thicker than Tiffany,
Mm-hmm.
unless...
Well, anyway, that's the end of that story.
My father planned to move in my nephews with me without my knowledge.
Just move out. Just move out.
Yeah, move out. Give your nephews no place to go.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if this is the right sub for this, but in this moment, as the only blood-related woman on my father's side of the family, it feels gendered. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. By the way, this comes from user Slender Selkie, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, a few days ago, my dad came over to my house for the first time in quite a while. I've had a lot of renovations done since he last saw the place when we first moved in. I have a nervous system condition, which, while very fortunate to be able to manage it in such a way that it usually doesn't impact my life most days out of any given month, they can render simple tasks very difficult for me when I'm having a flare. It's also important as a part of managing my condition and maintaining my high level of function to limit certain activities which can bring about a crash or a flare. My husband is also disabled. He has hypermobile EDS. So together we made a list of things we'd love to have as accommodations in the home we share. And we either DIY'd those things or found contractors to do them for us. I am really happy with the results. I find that these accommodating renovations make my life a lot easier. I have fewer crashes and overall more energy. My husband is elated with how much more functional he can be after we made these changes. My father isn't a fan. He thinks it all makes the house too weird. And you know, when our parents have funny thoughts like this, you know what we say?
Oh, Dad.
Okay.
Oh, you silly goofball. Hey,
Does it? All
hey,
right.
guess what? It's my house. I can do whatever I want with it.
Wow. Well, I'll make sure I won't sell the house to you then.
Yeah.
Okay. He's worried about the resale value, and we're not even planning on selling anytime soon. He had a lot of comments when he came over. In fact, it was almost all he talked about. I kept trying to gently tell him that this is just what works for us and then divert the subject, but he was getting a bit worked up, which isn't really like him in those types of situations. The plan for his visit was he'd come over, meet my foster dog that he might adopt, and take the dogs for a walk and then get lunch. When I left him alone for a minute to go use the bathroom after we'd walked the dogs, I came back out and found that he'd attempted to pull one of our accommodating mechanisms out of the kitchen wall.
Can you imagine? Just him like, that doohickey doesn't look right. Let me just...
I'm just imagining him
That
like
looks better.
yanking like something bolted into
Yeah,
the
100%.
kitchen wall, and it's
He's
like,
like, that doesn't look like it's kitchen, up to kitchen date.
but that's like, I'm like, at that point, I'm immediately like, because especially if it's like he's never done anything like this, I'm like, are you all right? We need to go doctor, MRI? Is it the tumor? Like, I don't know. That's what just random 180 personality changes. Make sure it's not a tumor. He hadn't caused any functional damage, but he did cause aesthetic damage, which, let's be honest, is worse. In that it will now need to be repainted. Ugh. Aesthetics over everything. I was shocked and kind of hysterical in my reaction, and I raised my voice at him when I saw what he was doing. I think I yelled, "What the F are you doing, Dad? What's your problem?" Which sounds like a pretty generally okay response
yeah,
to that.
that seems reasonable.
He responded, "I just wanted to see if it was removable. Sorry. It's just too weird. It's too weird. It's just not going to work when Billy and Bobby move in with you." Billy and Bobby are my nephews, my brother's children. I have never invited them to stay with me, let alone move in for any amount of time, and I've never been asked to do so. Even in the event that my brother and sister-in-law passed away in some tragic manner, to my knowledge, I should be very far down a very long list of people who could be asked to take those kids in before I would be asked. So I was pretty shocked that my dad would say something like that out of the blue and with so much frustrated emotion about Billy and Bobby moving in, because there's no reason to my knowledge for anyone to think that would possibly be happening. I asked him to clarify repeatedly, but he just waved it off and told me, forget he said anything. He didn't want to talk about it. He's like, oh, forget I said the thing I'm not supposed to say. Sorry.
I ruined the surprise.
Yeah. Oh, dang it. Oh, I was supposed to spring that on you at the last second so you couldn't say no. Dang it.
Find the words of an old fool.
Let me take this doohickey and put it back. Yeah.
That's the two. I have a tumor. We have to go to the doctor. I pressed him. All he said was, well, honey, it's a massive house. You have room for 2 boys.
You have such a big house.
When I asked him why he would even bring it up, though, and clarified that not only did I have absolutely no desire to host my nephews for a visit, let alone for them to move in, he clammed up again and just said, forget I ever said anything. He apologized for damaging my home, immediately transferred a larger sum than necessary to me via Zelle to fix the scratch he'd made, then took me out to lunch, as we planned prior. The rest of the day with him was pretty normal, and I guess I was just a little shocked or something because I didn't bring it up again. But now that it's been a few days, I can't get it out of my head, and I'm so annoyed. First of all, my dad hasn't ever been and would never be that aggressive about any decoration or renovation in my brother's homes. He just wouldn't, and I can't help but feel that he is less respectful of my home because I'm a woman, which sucks. But more upsetting and confusing is what the F was he talking about in terms of my nephews? Is my family conspiring in some way to move those kids in with me? It wouldn't be the first time that my family assumed I'd take care of those kids without asking me first, but in the past it was just babysitting, and I have directly told everyone that even that is unacceptable. So I would be really shocked if my brother or sister-in-law thought that was acceptable. I guess I'm just spinning out and don't really know what to do about it. I'm stuck between asking my father about it again or just reaching out to my brother directly. And we have some comments from OP, but before that, folks, Keon, Sophia, what do we do?
Well, we didn't do the rule of 3. We asked him twice, not 3 times. Remember, she's like, what did you mean about my nephews? He's like, don't worry about it. What did you mean about my nephews?
Oh,
don't worry about it.
You said it 3 times, now I have to
Yeah, it's like
answer.
Beetlejuice. You gotta say it 3 times, and he'll be like, all right, you activated it.
Someone asked, is there something wrong with your brother that he can't raise his own kids? OP says there's nothing wrong. To my knowledge, my brother isn't looking to move his kids out of his own home either. They are sometimes difficult kids, a little delayed and a lot of entitled and enabled behavior. In the past, they've leaned heavily on family for childcare, since my brother has a demanding job and my sister-in-law has a hard time being alone with her kids. When I lived with my dad, I was a big part of that equation and ended up being more responsible for those kids than I'd have agreed to because I wasn't in control of telling them if they could bring the kids over, as it was my father's house. Even when I still lived with my dad, I was able to establish some boundaries and assert that I wouldn't agree to care for them on demand, and that was generally respected after I put my foot down a few times. Another commenter says, I would definitely try to get more info from your dad, but failing that, it wouldn't be bad to talk to your brother. It seems like a really out-of-pocket thing to say unless he has some serious information you don't. OP says it's incredibly out of pocket. Not only do I not want those kids to live with me, but I also would assume that my brother wouldn't want his kids to live with me. There are a million reasons why, but chiefly, it wouldn't be a good idea safety-wise for those kids. I've been dealing with a stalker for years who has already threatened me that she would harm my nephews, at which point I distanced myself from Billy and Bobby. I stopped picking them up from school and stuff, and the threats directed at them stopped.
What was that? What was that?
Who is your stalker, and why are they not in jail after they threatened children?
Yeah, that seemed like a very big, missing, important part.
What?
Do they not know about this? Because they should also know about this, too. The nephews and their parents. Your brother and sister-in-law should know about. Everyone in your family should know about this.
That should be the whole story. What are we talking about?
What?
A stalker threatened your nephews. So it's not even, maybe it's not even about the nephews being bad. There's just like, well, there are threats against their lives. So they shouldn't be at my house. What are we doing?
That was such a nonchalant.
Oh
just
my
like,
God.
let me just throw that ingredient in there. What?
Okay. I think they're elaborating on the situation
I hope
here.
so. I hope so.
Currently, I'm working on taking legal action, but nothing is set in stone, and even the idea of those kids who are difficult, but who I also love very much. Being in my home makes me worried that they would be directly targeted or that there would be some escalation. I actually can't imagine that my family would think it's a good idea to move those kids in with me. Like, I can't imagine circumstances where that would seem appropriate. A commenter says, yeah, particularly given that information, but even without it, it's hard to imagine your brother or sister-in-law would want or expect you to take care of their kids short of some kind of serious health or relationship emergency. And even then, that wouldn't be something for your dad to be concerned about unless he's a particularly worrying person. OP says even if there's an emergency, I simply cannot be the first person on their list to take those kids in. I'm the only younger female blood relative, I guess, but there are so many other relatives and family friends who need to come before me on that list. My brother and sister-in-law have a massive village, so I'm talking dozens. It's baffling to me that it would come down to me to take care of those kids in any circumstances. Commenter says, the fact that he was actively trying to tear your house apart is a huge red flag. My bet is your brother is getting a divorce and they were just going to dump them on you since his job is so demanding. Dang,
I
did
really
not think about that.
Well, I'm still trying to piece the parts together here. This puzzle is very confusing. It's very all over the place where I'm like, no one's telling you anything. Your father's not telling you anything, and he has definitely some information that he's hiding. Yeah, and I guarantee you, like, oh, the missing puzzle piece here is just OP letting the nephew stay with you, and that's gonna fit right there. It's gonna be perfect. There's so much going on here that does not make sense.
Well, I just, because she's disabled, so is your partner.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like that is the reason that she's like, I should be down low. I am disabled. I have to take care of myself and my partner. We're taking care of each other. I don't necessarily have the capability to take care of two children.
No.
What are we talking about?
And no one's asking. They're just assuming.
I think, and you know what dad's vibe is? I think dad's vibe is like, oh, you're putting all this stuff in the house. It's unnecessary. Sometimes people just don't believe that things are real. Like, it's if you have a disability or you have an issue, if it's not something you can just see, like it's like your leg is messed up. If it's like, oh, my nerves are wrong and it causes me to be in pain. You know, there's certain people who'll be like, yeah, but are they? Is it? Are you? It's like, anyway, he's giving me some of that energy.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep reading. OP says in response to maybe they're divorced, honestly, I feel like an effing idiot that the two of them getting divorced hadn't even crossed my mind. Not that they have an actively bad marriage or anything, but I think their dynamic is weird, and I guess I wouldn't be shocked. Thank you for this insight. I mean, either way, it's a no from me for various reasons. Commenter says, better yet, group text them. Guys, I'm worried about Dad. He came over the other day and kind of flipped out about our disability accommodations and tried to rip one off of the wall, and then he thought Billy and Bobby were coming to live here, but couldn't explain why. I'm worried. Has anyone else noticed strange, aggressive behavior? That's actually a great thing because that might even be real.
Yeah.
If you're really like, none of this makes any sense, why is my dad saying this? You go, hey, why is dad saying this? It makes no sense. Because maybe he's actually going through something. OP says, I think I'll go with this, but on a call. I want to hear a response in real time. My dad has normalized triangulation a bit too much in this family for my comfort. How old is your dad? Could he be having a sort of mental episode that he thinks your nephews are supposed to move in with you? Barring that, I'd ask your brother, hey, do you have any idea why dad would say this? Is something going on? OP says he's in his 70s, but he's still sharp enough to be working. I asked my older brother, nebulously without mentioning the reason why, who works with my dad every day, if he'd noticed any decline. He said dad seems sharp as ever in their work environment. It's pretty mentally demanding work, so I think it would be evident there. I'll also note, though, my dad rejected an OCD diagnosis when he was in therapy after my parents' divorce. So he's not without any history of mental illness. Not sure if that would cause this behavior, though. Commenter said, if this is a new development, it may be a UTI. Symptoms of an undiagnosed UTI can mimic early-stage dementia, and UTIs can have no physical symptoms like burning or pain during urination in the early stages. Look up silent UTIs. What? That's crazy.
That's good to know.
Read the next sentence.
Yeah. OP said, oh crap, Dad has gotten several UTIs before. Just Googled it and I had no clue that they could be silent or that they could impact cognition. Wow. Is your dad okay with your and your husband's disabilities? Sounds ableist that he was trying to remove them. Like he was trying to remove the reminder of your disability and then came up with a nonsensical excuse after the fact. OP says, my dad is in utter denial that I'm disabled. He only briefly accepted when my symptoms were severe and I couldn't work, but after I started my own business, he's basically just been totally averse to the idea that I need to manage my symptoms and thinks I'm being dramatic. And then people asking several questions about the stalker. It's okay. OP says, she's someone I used to be friends with, and honestly, it's my bad because I hung in there even when I realized she was becoming mentally unstable. She became fixated on my husband when he and I began dating, and I became the enemy in her eyes. And Dad does not take the stalking seriously at all. This woman has stalked him too and done property damage to his house. We have an update. Okay.
So you were kind of
Good info.
right on the point, though.
Right on the money.
Yeah, the dad doesn't like care about anything.
Dad
He's like,
thinks
"Oh,
the
yeah,
disability's fake.
Yeah. He even thinks the stalking's fake.
He's thinking kids these days are they're just lazy. When I was a kid, my nervous system had to walk uphill in the snow both ways. Update. I talked to my brother on the phone about the situation, and he expressed that he had absolutely no idea why our father would imply that Billy and Bobby would need to move in with me at any point. He seemed genuinely surprised and to have no clue what the heck Dad was talking about. He claims to have absolutely never expressed anything like that to our dad. I believe him. I asked him if there was any possible reason at all that Dad would think that I'd need to take in my nephews. Like, is there some problem Dad thinks he's pre-solving without consulting either of us? Is there an illness or impending divorce or anything I don't know about? My brother assured me that there is nothing like that going on, and that, as I assumed, I, of course, wouldn't even be near the top of the list of permanent caregivers, even if something was going on, because he knows I run 2 businesses out of my house and also just am not up for taking his kids in unless I'm the absolute last safe resort.
Boom. Great. Well, that's one problem solved.
Wow.
Very easy. You just asked.
Both of us are in agreement, as is our older brother, that Dad generally doesn't seem to have any other signs that we've noticed of declining cognitive function. But since this was such a strange outburst, we're still concerned that this is just the earliest sign. My brother, Billy and Bobby's dad, is going to talk to our dad about it ASAP and see what he says or what explanation he can give, and then we'll go from there. And by the way, you can go from here to your podcast platform of choice and listen to full episodes with stories just like this. I'm talking Spotify. I'm talking Apple Podcasts. I'm talking iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
Just search OK Storytime and you can find all the stories you'll ever want to listen to in your whole life.
Yeah.
The issue that we're both aware of is that my dad, while a loving father and good man to many, is a bit of a liar and a lot of a manipulator. He has a lot of signs of OCD and gets fixated on things, then tries to manipulate to get his way with his fixation. He means well, but he has been known to be full of crap and to have his own strange agendas that don't have much to do with anyone else's wants or needs. So unfortunately, my brother and my brother has volunteered to go first, are going to have to confront him by essentially saying, Dad, it's really important that you're honest about whether you are confused or intentionally lying, triangulating, or manipulating. Because that's the difference between us freaking out about your health versus us just understanding that sometimes you lie to push your agenda, but your brain is fine. Thank you to everyone who gave me feedback here. You are all so sweet and supportive, except that one guy who for some reason was very convinced that I didn't pay for my own home and commented several times and DM'd me about it. I did pay for my home. And it's solely in my name, weirdo.
It's a stalker, probably.
Stalker was like, that's not your house, it's my house.
Yeah.
It belongs to me. We have comments here. Strange situation all around. If he has a history of weird fixations, that would be the cause I would lean towards. OCD can worsen with age, so it's possible that his symptoms' severity is worse. or he's having more trouble with impulse control as he ages, causing him to act on his urges and verbalize them. But I doubt Dad is going to give OP or her brother any straight answers. That was my take as well. I bet his determination to deny OP's disability is conflicting with his OCD in a big way. It's no coincidence that he tried to damage one of their disability aids. All that nonsense about resale value and her nephews was him throwing out whatever BS he could think of to cover up how upset he was getting from seeing the assistive devices he wants to ignore but can't. Another reply, I mean, it could be dementia, but it also sounds like massive ableism coinciding with OCD. Having a disability is bad. Having visible signs of accommodation is bad. If I remove the accommodation, the bad will go away. I must remove this right effing now, and I can't do anything else until it's gone. Oh no, I've been caught doing something wrong, and I can't defend my reasoning. Make something up. Double down. That was the train of thought that Dad may have been hypothetically going through.
Like the little chart.
Yeah, that was the flow chart of how we got there. Also, at 70, he's definitely feeling the mobility limitations, and seeing the renovations may have triggered something out of pure projection. We're going to read the last comment. You know what? I don't think this is about resale value or about Billy and Bobby moving in. I think it's just an ableist dad seeing disability aids as an eyesore and trying to BS his way out of it. And that's the end of that story.
And this episode ends.
Say it ain't so.
It is so. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.